you believe me when I tell you you are the queen of my heart? Please don't deceive me when I hurt you, just ain't the way it seems. Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz?
Serious.
And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down. Well, I know what's right. I got just one life in a world that keeps on pushing me around, but I stand my ground.
Obtained from a secret UAP craft retrieval program.
It was aliens.
Oh, my beloved ice cream bar. How I love to lick your creamy center. Ow!
All women say they want a good man until they actually meet one and realize they're not equipped to handle him. A good man is not convenient. He doesn't bend to accommodate chaos. He doesn't rearrange his values because you're emotional.
A real good man has discipline, boundaries, and priorities that don't shift based on your mood.
And this is where women get confused. When you've never met emotional maturity, you misread everything.
You call him cold because he won't tolerate drama. You call him selfish because he protects his peace.
You label him detached because he refuses to beg for your approval. But that's not coldness. That is self-respect. A man who knows his worth doesn't move from insecurity.
All right. Hello, and good morning, my beauties and bees. It is I, your hostess, Miss Bumblebee. We are live from the Hive. It is Saturday morning, February 7th, 2026. Can you believe it's 2026 already? Oh, I remember waiting for the turn of the millennium. So it's just that we're like over a quarter of a century into it now. It's just like upsetting to my mind, who still thinks I'm like 17. So, good morning, welcome. This is Live from the Hive, a Saturday morning show for grown-ups, because we all need a little something. We all grew up with the Saturday morning cartoons and stuff. They don't really do that anymore, but that's what I'm here for. I'm here to be your Saturday morning cartoons for your adult life while you drink your coffee, while you smoke your weed, or do whatever it is that you do to unwind on a Saturday morning when you're not at work. So welcome to the show. Updates. Yeah, I don't have much going on, or much new that's happened this week, other than, well, I guess what I could do is talk about, we did the Black Panther, the Texas Black Panther thing on, was that Thursday night? When was that? Hold on, I'll look. It was the 4th, so that would have been Wednesday night. On Wednesday night, we went and did this. I don't know if y'all missed it, or if anybody saw it or not, but I went and did this whole thing with the oh, cool, it makes it look like I'm the one doing it now, with this Black Panther sighting in Texas. Yeah, 21, because I gotta be able to drink, right? Okay, so we looked at these photos and kind of tried to line them up with different big cats and decide whether they were fakes or what the situation was with that. So we did that. That's something I don't normally do, like, all the time, right? That's going live in the middle of the week is pretty peculiar for me, but it was super late too. So, like, it was like 9:30 or so. It was 9 o'clock here, which means it was 11 o'clock on the east and 10 o'clock in central. So yeah, probably not a lot of people up, but I saw it and I'd been researching it all night, and I'm like, why am I doing all this cryptozoological research while on my own, sitting in the dark by myself, when I could be doing it with my hive? So I went live and did it, and searched and did all my research for this one, because it's a new picture, a new set of pictures, I guess I should say. Yeah, and we tracked down the location and everything. We spent a good deal of time doing research into this on Wednesday night. Lil was here, and yeah, we looked at the cubs, make sure they weren't carbon copies of each other, which looks pretty good. So it was fun. It was a fun little excursion. I'm thinking about doing it more and more. If new videos or clips or anything come up, new information, I'm going to go live. I'm just going to go live and cover it and do my research with you guys live on set in my hive. So look forward to doing that more. I've also been talking to a few different people about so yeah, let me get back over here. So when I first joined this online skeptics community, a lot of people call it the atheist community, but not everybody involved is an atheist, but I digress. The skeptic community, one of the things that I did early on was I started doing a call-in show called The Perspective. Now, The Perspective was a different type of call-in show than what we get, like, from the line, or from Skeptic Haven or ACA or any of these places, because it was specifically it was breaking crypto news that will get us some views. Specifically, it was about, like, supernatural claims. We did get the occasional God claims and stuff like that, but for the most part, I mean, say occasional, I'd say maybe a third of our calls were that, but for the most part, we did UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, near-death experiences, psychic powers, curses, that kind of stuff. So very heavily into the woo weeds, right? yeah, obviously we get the precepts and prime mover arguments and all that nonsense too, but usually it was pretty fun. It was fielding calls and questions about ghosts and stuff. And the coolest part about it was people would send us videos and pictures sometimes to review for the call. I've been jonesing for that feeling for a long time. That's my favorite thing to do. So I've been toying with the idea. I don't know where I am or how deep of it I'm into. And, you all know I come up with a new channel or new show idea every few months. Try to spice things up. Try to break free of the loop that I find myself in on this app. To see if I can't break free. So I've been considering doing like a revamped, new version of like the of like the perspective. I'm not going to call it the perspective. I've been talking to Ethan though about it and having him help me get it off the ground. But honestly, I'm excited about the prospect. It's given me renewed vigor, which we'll see how long it lasts. I've talked to quite a few different people who want to participate in either helping call screen or to be hosts. Yeah, and producers and stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I've done some different concept art and stuff, which I'll probably put up on my page at some point on the community page. So go check that out. But people be like, "Oh, call-in shows are a dime a dozen," but I'm trying to do one that's different. I want to do one that's people are calling about ghosts or Bigfoot sightings, or the time they saw a UFO, or their aunt that's a psychic, or any of that kind of stuff. I want to talk to those people, so I'm gonna make an effort to get those callers. I'm gonna go out and work the groups. Oh, there's my alarm. Why is my phone still way back there? Oh. My alarm goes off at 1:15 to make sure that I'm on track for the show. I had to cough. But speaking of my community page, where you'll be able to see the art concepts and stuff for that, you'll also be able to come out here and vote on the polls. Every week we run 2 polls, one for Cryptic Corner and one for Week in Weird, where we talk about, where we discuss what we don't discuss, we can, no one ever does, but you can comment, where we choose what we're going to talk about and what we're going to discuss that weekend. This week, the options we have, the new kid on the block was the seeing stones. We're talking crystal balls. I'd love to have a crystal ball. If you want to buy me a crystal ball, you probably should. That seems like a good idea. It seems like a sound, reasonable plan to buy Brie a crystal ball. So you should definitely get on that. Oh, y'all can't even see the crystal ball. It's down here, seeing stone. I like seeing stone. That's what they use in Lord of the Rings, so I like that term. Then we have the Bells of Tartaria still on the list. Those are, exactly what it says on the tin there. Bells of Tartaria, old Tartaria before the reset. This is alternative timeline stuff. And what do these bells have to play? What part do these bells have to play? We'll find out. Bells were very important to the Tartarian Empire. We got mystical martial arts, which is mostly, I'm going to be frank with you, it's mostly going to be like making fun of Aikido, right? And people whooshing folks around. So if you want to watch me laugh about that for an hour, then we can then pick that one for your Week in Weird, and we'll have some fun. We'll have a good time. But this week, by an absolute landslide, by well over half the votes, 67% of you all wanted to talk about the Philadelphia experiment on Week in Weird. So stick around for that section of the show, because Philadelphia experiment is awesome. Oh, hell yeah. Samantha got us tickets to the Paranormal Circus, which is here in town next week. So it's going to be... there'll be lots of pictures from that, too. Hopefully it's really cool. I'm going to dress all witchy when I go, I think. So, yeah. Shaolin soccer. Oh, no. I didn't know that was a thing. But maybe the Paranormal Circus will have its own spot in the Week in Weird. I don't know. But for our startup segment, the beginning of the show, every week we do CrypticCorner. And we run a poll on what kind of cryptic creatures we're going to cover. Yeah. So, this week, still on the polls, we have the Yowie, which is kind of Australia's Bigfoot-like creature. Or maybe it's the marsupial Bigfoot. Ooh, we'll find out. Return to Amityville, where we're going to explore the lore and any kind of new updates that are available regarding the Amityville property, High Hopes. So if you want to explore High Hopes, select this one. That's our ghost topic for the week. We have globsters on the list, which are big masses of animal that wash up on shore, and people argue and debate on what it is. Is it a giant octopus? Is it a species of whale? We're going to look at them. The theme of the circus is voodoo. Nice. But the winner, another one by a landslide, almost half of the vote here, was the ice spider of Antarctica. The ice spider of Antarctica is actually a online cryptid, a very, very new one, and we'll talk about that later. But one thing that seems to be overarching, though, here is the fact that this week we are military-driven, because this is going to take us down to McMurdo in Antarctica, and that's the Philadelphia experiment, is the Naval Shipyard in New Jersey. So, I know it was in Philadelphia, derp in Philadelphia, but both of these are associated with the military. If I had a military uniform, it'd be like something I'd probably wear today, right? I'd have to wear it today for this episode, because this is our military episode, our land, sky, and sea episode. Anyhow, yeah. So, without further ado, I guess it's time to get over into the Cryptic Corner segment. But before we dip over there, I'm going to give you a quick musical interlude with the stylings of I almost called him Ray Comfort, of Kenneth Copeland. I need more Ray Comfort stuff. Ray Comfort's funny. Here's the musical stylings of Kenneth Copeland.
Just open your mouth and let it say whatever it wants to say. Hi. És non come la vastak začke. Ruchan işte buraya kalmışsınız. Morga dene, namakute, temanese, goropo umala la jegle disto. Nakorob atilo masama. Morga dene, namakute, temanese. Goropo umala la jegle disto. Nakorob atilo masama. What the fuck, bro?
Hello, hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I'm your host, Miss Bumblebee, and today we're going on an adventure to Antarctica. We're going to the southmost continent, my friends, to a military base, as the case may be. And I was talking about how the topics there, military, and Jer's joking about borrowing Ben's military outfit. I don't know if he gets to keep it or not, Jer. I would actually think he probably would. I wouldn't fit in it. I might fit in a jacket or something, but I'm very tall, and I'm a large woman. I guess I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'11", but like for a woman that seems tall, especially for in this part of the country where there's a lot of shorter people with native descent or native ancestry and Hispanic ancestry, and they all tend to be a lot shorter than me. So when I walk into a room around here, generally, especially when I'm wearing heels, because that adds another 2 inches, and suddenly I'm like a woman that's over 6 foot tall bumbling into there, and I'm y'all know I'm boisterous and bombastic, so I become the center of attention anyway. But I've learned to just accept that at this point in my life and just kind of roll with it. People are going to turn their heads and look when they see me walk into a room. I'm just used to it at this point. I just lean into it. That's why I don't dress conservatively or modestly, because what's the point? YOLO, you only live once. But I dress warmly if I was going to our place that we're covering in Cryptic Corner, because we are like, oh my gosh, we're at basically the bottom of the world here. Like, this is Antarctica, right? And the pivot point that I'm circling around here is the South Pole's like right here. So you can't even, actually it's like right here. You can't even get any, this is the closest you can get to the South Pole while still being on the coast. That's what we're looking at here. This is in the Ross Archipelago. Archipelago, I think is the way you say it. I was trying to be fancy, but I failed. So it's right down here, McMurdo. And here's Scott is like right next door. They're literally neighbors. And there's some other stuff around here too. This is like where a lot of the research centers and stuff are. This little section of Antarctica. Apparently, in addition to research stations and military outpost, there is a prevalence of giant ice spiders, and we're going to explore that. So I found x/x paranormal archives, an archive channel of the best green text stories, paranormal and schizo posts through the years up into the present day. And they cover a lot of like aliens, lots of aliens. It's like a dogman bad acid trip. Oh my goodness. But this one is their very first video from 3 years ago. This is the one they opened with. This is their inaugural video that they came out with. So let's give it a look. Let's give it a watch and see what we think about giant spiders in Antarctica. And yeah, this is this is only 3 years ago. So why this aspect ratio? I have no idea. Maybe they were going for like CRT kind of quality look to it. Want it to be unique and stand out. I have no idea, but because they did that, we have these gray bars on either side. But that's okay. It actually fits better with my screen, so I'm not going to complain. Gonna fall off the edge of the earth. Oh no. Be safe. My Amazon goddess. You're my goddess. The Thing is down there, and it kind of looks like a spider too. Maybe this is the Thing. Here's our culprit right here. No, clearly the ice wall. Yeah, let's do the ice wall. Ross is cold. I said what I said. I get stuff at Ross sometimes. I didn't have Ross back where I lived before, so it's kind of nice to go to Ross and kind of see how cheap everything is there. Let me read the caption for this. Okay, so we got son of Aunt Anon. It's like anonymous. Revelation. On February 13th, which is convenient that we're pretty close to that date now. We're pretty close to the anniversary of this post. That's convenient. On February 13th, 2021. So you got to remember too that February is the summer in Antarctica. An Antarctica thread regarding a newly cropped up picture. Yeah, cropped up. There you go. Picture of what appeared to be a single spider-like creature in Antarctica. Cropped up on X /X or /X/ I guess is what how you say that. That were found on Google Earth in a Google Earth thread. Oh boy. And Anon came forward claiming that his father was a doctor that worked at McMurdo Station in the New Zealand claimed Ross dependency area of Antarctica, and that he knew about these creatures beforehand. Following are his posts before he went quiet. Cue ominous music.
Son of Antanon, /X/Revelation. On February 13, 2021, an Antarctica thread regarding a newly cropped up picture of what appeared to be a spider-like creature in Antarctica cropped up on /X/ that were found in a Google Earth thread. An Anon came forward claiming that his father was a doctor that worked at McMurdo Station in the New Zealand claimed Ross dependency area of Antarctica, and that he knew about these creatures beforehand. The following are his posts before he went quiet. Antarctica thread anonymous. Boy, I sure do.
I don't know if it really looks like a spider. It's supposed to have 5 legs, though. They're different. They're not spiders. Spiders. Let's see. So we got some commentary. Boy, I sure do fucking love mutated penguin spiders. I think that this is what I think of this picture is that it's a piece of machinery of some kind. A snowplow with like snow stuck up in its treads, so you can't really see it. So those white areas here and here and here are actually snow caked into the machine. It's not my fault. He might read these. If he's going to read all of it, everything that pops up, I'm just going to let him go.
Fucking love mutated penguin spiders. It's not my fault they have to live here. We're kinda in the same boat. I have no memory of choosing any of this. I guess they built them a big fancy new house here, but it already fell apart and leaked water everywhere. Haha, had nothing to do with the polar bear murder last week. I thought that was wrong.
So polar bears don't live in Antarctica first, but moving on.
Can buy land on the moon but not on Antarctica. I find that interesting. What would be a prox size of it? Son of Antanon arrives.
P. I am the foremost expert on this subject.
My father was stationed in Antarctica at McMurdo Station. He's told me things.
Alright, I'm the foremost expert. I love how people can just claim that. That's why I always claim I'm the foremost. I'm the world's leading cryptozoologist. That's why I wear the black hat. Once you become a certain level of cryptozoologist, you have to start wearing a black cowboy hat. I don't make these rules, but that's definitely how it works. So taking my role seriously. A black cowboy hat is to cryptozoologist as a white lab coat is to a doctor. So just keep that in mind. You see someone with a black cowboy hat when you're out at the Walmart or the Piggly Wiggly, you can about 60% guarantee that gentleman or lady will engage you in a conversation about skunk ape. Just don't talk to them about the giant Antarctica spiders. They might have to call in some backup support.
I'll want to hear some fucked up shit. I'm using a name BC. It's easier for me to keep track of this shit. Some background. My dad is a doctor, was stationed at McMurdo for 11 months in the 90s, not saying what year BC. He was the only doc there and y'all could track me down. frequently went out on scientific expeditions. First and foremost, there were some areas people just didn't go to. They weren't environmentally hazardous. They just were avoided for one reason or another. When my dad asked one of the researchers who had been there for 10 years, he went pale and told him to shut up. It was about 30 miles south 10 east of McMurdo. They took a 5-mile detour around whatever the hell was there. So already things are adding up. There were little outposts here and there.
All right, hold on. I think we need to go back and look at the base again before we get too far into here. All right, so again, this is McMurdo, right? And you're out on this peninsula, but this is all frozen most of the year. Except in February, ironically enough, and we see that it breaks up. But the roads, sometimes they do. Like, look at this road. This road is going to this place right here, to William Field, which is out in the... I'm assuming it's temporary and it's in the sea. But don't quote me on that, but it's over here. And the road takes this weird arcing course, right? Just womp. And I was like, that's super weird. Like, and you can drop down on it too. You can see where it arcs out. Unfortunately, I'm not able to drop down there and see what it's going around or what these ripples and ribbons mean. But you can drop down here in a few places and look around. No ice spiders, but lots of ice. And they got little flags to mark the roads. Now, when you look at the field, you can see they have, you know, little aircraft and stuff here. Wonder if they have enough aircraft to get everybody out of there. I doubt it. Some people are going to have to leave on boats. Some people. But they can only leave on boats for certain times of the year. I don't think I need to. Here, we're going to put that on the other side of this. There we go. All right, back to our square video.
Thinking a metal tube sticking out of the ground, with a hatch in the side. They were supposedly emergency and climate weather shelters, but the walls were a thing and they were always locked. Secondly was a weird structure.
See, we're over here. So you see Scott Base is like right next to it. Scott Base is U.S. McMurdo Station is New Zealand. The U.S. is like everywhere, though. I mean, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here. The only section that we're not is over here. In this little quarter where Japan is. In China. New Zealand's got a presence over here, too, though. Or, no, that's Australia, sorry. Yeah, I just like looked and saw, oh yeah, Australia's the one with the star underneath there. That's how you tell the difference between New Zealand and Australia. They both have the Southern Cross, but Australia has two additional stars. It's got this one here, and then this little one here. So that's how you know. Here's where he said he was. Okay, so we got a location. We got Hallett Station on there, too. So we stationed at McMurdo. Traveling out here. Okay, let's go look. Let's go look again. Alright, so... which way would it be, though? Let's see, so, yeah, it'd be... there by the Ross Sea. And this is the Ross Sea right here. So you're looking somewhere up in this area here. In these mountains. Because that looks like a mountain range, right? There's Jangbogo Station. Jangbogo and Zushel. And so there's some other stations down in this area too. Along the coast. Most of the stuff is along the coast here.
My dad said one time they were cresting a hill near the spot they avoided and a gray building with a white roof was in the distance, and that it didn't look like at the normal shelters they used, but almost like an office building. Also, sorry about spelling and shit. Think faster than I can type and I want to get this out there. Thirdly, there were the striders. Big fucking 5-legged things that crawled across the continent at night or in snowstorms.
Fuck yeah, here we go. Striders. That thing doesn't have 5 legs. That has 3 legs. That's like a War of the Worlds kind of monster. They were tripods, not 5-leg, which would be... What would you call that? Pentapod? A pentopod? I like pentopod. Yeah.
There were sightings from the military personnel.
They keep
there.
showing tripod creatures instead,
Most of
though.
McMurdo is us Navy. My dad had a Polaroid of one of the footsteps in a track from one of the Dakars they had, and it was easily a foot deep into the snow that was already packed down from a 10-ton truck. Also, what the normal shelters look like. Interesting. Instant. I don't really have that kind of feeling
Wait a
toward
second.
what the normal shelters look like. Interesting. Instant. Down from a 10-ton truck. Also, what the normal...
I'm going to say right now that the shelters that most Antarctic research stations use are not made out of canvas and plywood. I'm just going to put that out there right now. I don't think that this is the standard Antarctic setup. This might be like a temporary setup where they can during construction or something, but this is not a long-term dwelling. Come on now. They have like so high-tech buildings down there. I know I keep going back and forth. We're going to spend a lot of time in the map today because this is a lot of substance to it, just a lot of pictures and quotes and stuff. But we can go, there's places we can drop down here in the base and you can see kind of what structures they have. That's more like what you expect. These big insulated buildings. It's like a reverse refrigerator, right? I've been here so many times. I like know my way around the base, but like this. These are the types of buildings that you expect to see down there. And yeah, they do have white roofs. They tend to have white roofs. It looks like they go through a lot of propane down here. I mean, yeah, there are, you know, work sheds and stuff like that. Let's move down here further. Yeah, there's office buildings upstairs. Those buildings are super insulated, though. It's crazy how insulated they are. They're not freaking plywood wrapped in canvas. That's ridiculous. There's lots of buildings like this. Obviously, these are funded by the government, right? So they spare no expense. Here we go. Here's something with some. Is that plywood? You can't even tell. What's that ball up on the mountain? Is that the moon? The fuck is that? Oh, there's a building up there too. Is that a satellite dish? Huh. That is a satellite. I know it's not really the moon. I was just being silly, but I wonder if we can get a better look at that. But you don't want to be stuck outside at night or with nothing but canvas and plywood between you and the elements. You will die. It's one thing about Antarctica a lot of people don't think about. It's muddy. Antarctica is muddy. And Antarctica is also a huge freaking desert. And this is the type of vehicles I'm talking about. Like these. But there's ones with treads, too. Is that a fucking F-150? It is. Where's the ones with the treads? I'm trying to show you the vehicles that I was talking about. That I think that... But these ones, too. Like, these are designed to go out here in the snow. So you're like, look at this. Let's see, we're at 212. And then from a distance like that. Just a thought. Alright. Back to the video.
My dad had a Polaroid of one of the footsteps in a track from one of the Dakars they had, and it was easily a foot deep into the snow that was already packed down from a 10-ton truck. Also, what the normal shelters look like. Interesting. Instant. I don't really have that kind of feeling towards North Pole. And well, there are people living around the North Pole, while South is strictly controlled on who goes in and out. Fun fact from not so long.
Oh, thank you, Ember. Ember says that that's a weather station. Radar ball. Radar ball. Acetylene. Antarctica has 2 moons. Yeah. because there's the one that circles way beyond the ice wall. Sometimes it peaks above it. There's always an F-150 4x4 somewhere, everywhere.
Long did you know that COVID-19 outbreak on Antarctica started in the Peruvian Army base? 36 Army personnel was infected. Official numbers of stationed personnel unclear.
COVID-19 started in Antarctica now. Did you know that? Ooh, lots of... Did they get it from the spiders? Did the spiders' bite cause COVID-19?
Many military if this is all just snow and ice. Make a good point. The official reasoning for Antarctica being controlled is they want to keep it the last untouched place on Earth. Big fucking five-legged things, how big? Does the thing from the...
That's true, though. They want to keep it untouched and pristine. There's very few places on this Earth that we haven't corrupted as a species. Let's have one little corner of the planet where wildlife can exist in the way that it has for millions of years, and we can just stand back and watch. Even though our microplastics are even in the ice of Antarctica at this point. What are you going to do?
Pic resembles it? Like, Strider from Half-Life big as far as they know. Footsteps at least 30 to 40 feet.
Okay, is that what these are? Striders from Half-Life? Okay, but these things are supposed to have 5 legs.
Now, if you have ever played Pathways into Darkness, one of the enemy resembles it, but only just think pic related but white/gray. 7 to 8 stories tall and 5 legs instead of 2. 7 stories, fucking hell, they're big guys. How come no one has made it public about them?
Where do you go? Let's see. 7 stories. How tall is 7 stories? 84 feet would be the maximum height for 7 stories, according to the math from Quora, which I'm just going to take as gospel truth at this point, just to move the story forward. Each story is 10 to 15 feet, so it can vary a bit, depending on how much space is in between each story. So it's going to vary, but 84 feet. 84-foot tall spiders roaming around Antarctica. No one's classified them yet.
Or any photo. Also, be careful with your wishes anon. Lol. Might be the Striders are there to watch after worse things. Do continue. Like Morrowind Striders? I don't know, never seen him, my guy. So a C said my dad was a doctor. Got yelled at by superior officer, who said they didn't need none of you unwanted smart types around here. Guy was a prick and hated anyone who wasn't.
I don't want any of you smart thinking types around here. Why? Why would anybody ever say that? The only time I could ever hear anybody say that in my head is somebody like living in a backwood little like town in the deep south or something that doesn't want society to change or to progress. But like on an Antarctic research base, a scientific research base, didn't need none of you unwanted smart types around here. And this is again New Zealand, not Alabama, researchers and people working at this base. So you got to read that with a Kiwi accent. I'm not gonna. Well, maybe I should. Don't need. I don't know. My Kiwi accent sucks. Don't need none of you unwanted smart types around here. I sound more Cockney than anything.
Grunt or a researcher. Leaked to my dad that he was replacement for a doc who had snooped around, tried to scare my dad and shit. Guy was a total douche. One day a guy who my dad knows for a fact isn't at McMurdo or any of the nearby bases comes in, escorted, with severe lacerations. He is told that the guy fell. My dad calls bullshit. The cuts were too clean to be ice or rocks, plus no debris left in wound. Guy's delirious and while he's under anesthesia, starts talking about things he probably should.
How does ice leave debris and wounds, huh? Make that make sense. I thought that you just said they were cuts from ice. You did say ice and rocks, but like ice wouldn't leave debris. Well, I guess it could leave debris in a cut. I don't know, but wouldn't a giant spider monster slashing you up leave residue in cuts too, or leave traces in cuts? Yeah. That's the only type of person down there. Unwanted smart types, right? Yeah, that's how you end up in Antarctica. Thought you were counting the holy hand grenade. Oh no. Microplastic ice shrapnel. That's what I'm talking about, Amber.
Be saying something about we let them loose and they were frozen. We thought they were dead. He starts to say something else, but the guards yell at him to shut the fuck up and gag him. That's right, they gagged a guy who is only getting a SIGIN from a mask. My dad flips and rips it off, yelling at them and asking what the fuck they are doing. The guard sticks his M16 in my dad's face, forces him back to his quarters, and doesn't let him out till the dude is patched up and waiting on the next plane from South America.
Wait a second, they forced the doctor out. Then who patched him up? Who provided the medical care? This guy is the doctor on base. Who provided the medical care when your dad was forced out? Regarding the Morrowind Strider, too small, too fat, but the legs are right. Think upright torso with 5 spindly legs, open top, much taller. That's not what this looks like, though. This thing does look pretty short and squat. And most of it is not legs, and the legs I would not call. Well, the legs are kind of spindly. They're more robust than they're robust enough that I don't know if I'd call them spindly. Maybe they are.
Regards to Morrowind Striders, too small, too fat, but the legs are right. Think upright torso on 5 spindly legs, open top, much taller. Yeah, but after that he started taking note of stuff. He had an Apple IIe he used for flight sims, and he started keeping track of information he gathered. Said he hasn't looked at it in years.
After he started talking not of stuff. What's your first language, pal? If you're in, your dad's in New Zealand.
I'm going to try and get it and running, see what I can find on it. Till then, not much else I know about what went on. He said he saw the Striders a few times in the winter, but kinda hard to prove. Says he's forgotten a lot about those days. If I can find the computer, I can get more stories. Other than that, not much else. One time they hit something with the Dakar, which was a big deal since there aren't many penguins in the Antarctic. And when they got out, the researcher who told my dad to shut up forced him back into the car. Dad said it looked like one of the things from the Cloverfield movie, but you know.
Woohoo! 26 months, Vandalia. Thank you so much. Digital cookie, Girl Scouts. My niece is selling cookies if anyone is hungry. Yeah, go get yourself some Girl Scout cookies if you want some Girl Scout cookies. There's a link right there. 26 months, that's over 2 years. You've been here for a long time, Vandalia. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, all fucking crushed to bits. So spindly little legs and the like. Says he thinks it was buried under the surface level of snow, which is why they didn't see it. Also 27648397 agreed. It sounds stupid. But what? A fast-growing, possibly supernatural apex cryptid, with a white spindly body, that only moves in low visibility. I'm only parroting what I heard. I would say it is maybe 20 to 30 feet tall. But I wasn't there. My dad's theory is that.
So 20 to 30 foot tall is a lot smaller than the 87 foot tall that we calculated from his 7-story claim previously. Son of Antonon.
While taking bore ice samples, we found something. Dug it up and one or more escaped. They grew into what roams Antarctica, and we shut down the continent because of it. I'm from Chile, and the military here who are assigned to the place can't speak about anything going on there, but every now and then someone spills the whole there's something there. Give me a few guys, I'm going to take a picture and censor the name of the plaque my dad got from being stationed at McMurdo. We'll have the whole /X and the date thing in it.
This is just to prove that his dad was actually in McMurdo, which I don't doubt. People's dads go to McMurdo all the time. So many dads have gone through McMurdo station in Antarctica that it could be called Antarctica's Dad Central. No, I don't know, but like, you know, every man that's down there has the potential to be a father. So it's not that big of a deal to say, yeah, this is true that my dad was in Antarctica. The clock is cool.
To prove I ain't lying. As promised. Snowstorms are a hell of a lot worse than people make them out to be. As I said, that's when people see the Striders. But there is
very, very low precipitation in Antarctica. Just putting this out there. Different parts of it are different, but it is the world's biggest and driest desert. So precipitation is very rare.
on the doors, windows, walls, everything. Dad said he thought he saw one of those small things hit his window and bounce off once while he was playing FA/18 sim. My bad, it was 11C not 11E. I would say that with both the fact that they ran one over in summer and that they are most active in winter, it's very likely that these things like extreme.
Wait a second, you're gonna have to clarify.
Hold on.
Hold on, you need to clarify what you mean by summer and winter, because they're inverted. Summer is the cold part of the year and winter is the hot part of the year in the southern hemisphere. Does McMurdo have a convenience store that sells cigarettes? Is that what happened to all those dads that didn't come back from getting? Yeah, so they're all down there. That's where dads go. Yeah, they're all, whose dad disappears. He didn't abandon you. He went down to protect us from giant ice spiders. They did a calling all dads bulletin. I almost got drafted myself, but I had already transitioned at the time because I was in 2021. So like, nope, we can't take you, Bree. Sorry, you can't fight giant ice spiders with us. I'm like, I'm a fucking cryptozoologist. They're like, we don't make the rules, Donald Trump does. And I'm like, yeah, that guy's an idiot.
My dad's name I could take photos of, but a quick Google reverse image will show that is original in many ways. I'm going to see if I can get the 2C to run. Found it and got it out. Can't find keyboard though. Proof he was at McMurdo. Can't get it running tonight. I'm honestly really tired. I have work tomorrow morning. But my dad literally just woke up and I asked him and he told me something he didn't already tell me. So people die in Antarctica. It happens, it's cold and accidents happen. Every time someone died during the winter snowstorms though, he had to wait for them to thaw and sew them back together. Similar wounds from the person who dipped in the summer. Except one man.
That sounds so freaking metal, like such a metal job to have. I wait for people who died, who froze to death, to thaw out, so I can preserve them in the spring when the ground thaws enough to bury them. I don't think that they bury them down there though. Lots of clear skies for astronomy though. Yeah, you can get beautiful images down there, and not my dad. I know where he is, in storage in a small plastic box. Oh, that sounds creepy. I would not tell me anymore, speak anymore about that on this stream. Right-handed Jedi, in order to, I know you're talking about in Minecraft that your dad's in a small plastic box. No, I think your dad's probably cremated. Good morning, Jason. That's Jason from Dragons and Genesis. If you like to read, if you like to explore mythology of the Bible, go over and check out Dragons and Genesis podcast. Jason does you're on a few different platforms. Jason does some great stuff.
He didn't know who was missing his lower half. This guy was carted in by similar guards, but not the same. His intestines had spilled out and my dad had to sew on fake clothed lower half after sealing up this guy's torso. They then dressed him in battle dress. The official cause of death is hypothermia.
They sewed on a fake bottom half and then dressed it. That's
but we both know that's bullshit. His lower abdomen from the end of the ribcage down had been ripped off violently. There's shit out there and you better fucking believe it. So I asked him a few more questions about injuries and he said a lot of lost limbs from frostbite. A few cuts here or there. Those two are the only two.
I did that in the 90s. Simply Secular Dave. I ran up to the gas station and bought my parents cigarettes. I had to bring a note with me from my parents, but they lived down the hill. I'd run up there. Did you just call me a Jedi? I'm insulted. Pouts. Yeah, so isn't a Sith just an evil Jedi? I'm sorry. And that's the thing too. I'm probably more of a Sith than a Jedi too. Cream of nope soup. Metallica played Antarctica. I didn't know that. That's cool. I didn't know that about Metallica.
Stick out to it. There were a lot of lacerations on people who did stuff outside in the winter, and the only ones allowed out were a certain group of Arctic warfare soldiers and the researchers. He said talking about all of this has gotten his memory going. Said he grabbed one of the researchers' journals one time and it had all kinds of diagrams of shit that didn't look anything like any animal there was supposed to be out there. This is where he got
Arctic warfare. I'm kind of hung up on that. What were those guys doing? Here it is. And the only ones allowed out were a certain group of Arctic warfare soldiers.
his descriptions for the striders and the spiders. He cornered one of the researchers once and questioned her. She got really stiff and refused to tell him anything. And he later got a talking to from his CO about how useless he was and shit. And how if there was another incident they were sending him back stateside. He ignored this though, and when his CO was away, looked through his files. This guy controlled the whole base at the time. Found documents regarding certain operations during the winter months and that there were requisitions for ammo. He got caught though, and this is what led to him being kicked back to the States. He got court-martialed, but because he never signed a NDA, and he never found anything bad, they docked his pay and sent him on his way. What's the source/context behind it?
Oh, we're gonna have Pepe here because this is coming from image boards. I'm assuming this is from 4chan. There are a few different image boards that'll have this format, but this looks like 4chan.
Back to this one. It's from Google Earth. Some dude that was there took the pics around the place he was. I guess he was a scientist? Let me get him to look at it. He says he doesn't know. It's on the opposite side of the continent from him. Near
Somebody see if we can't hit Samantha with a gift membership. There's a few people that Simply Secular Dave could get one too. There's a few people out here that could land a gift membership if they're lucky. I got lots of mods. Do I have too many mods? I like to keep my chat clean.
Here's some Australian and British stations. Other people's stories. Once they told my dad he was being shipped out, despite the fact that it was the day he was supposed to leave. He stopped caring what people thought and started gathering stories from everyone he could. Most of it was I saw this or I saw that, but nothing he could really work with. Then came in Jones, not real name. Jones was one of the Arctic warfare specialists. Green Beret. The guy was autistic, strong as fuck and smart as hell. Only got through all the training because he could hide himself. And while being regarded, could do a lot other members of his team couldn't do, but the one thing Jones had that the others didn't was a conscience. Jones felt bad for what he did, and my dad had a undergrad degree in psychology. They had an agreement. Jones hurts himself to get sent to my dad. My dad helps Jones get stuff off his chest, everyone is happy. His buddies don't know he is going to shrink. He gets to feel good, and the co gets to have a functioning soldier. One time Jones wakes my dad up, about 3 days before my dad is supposed to
Jones is about to drop up some bombshells, y'all. I bought beer for my parents until my late teens when it became illegal. Then I turned 18 and could buy it again for a year or so until the drinking age was raised to 21. I tried to go to the dark side, but you wouldn't teach me Sith lightning, right-handed Sith. Yeah, I want to be able to do Force lightning is the reason why I'm like that's an important skill for me to be able to do, is to be able to do the Force lightning. Jason Jacoby gifting memberships out. Let's see who landed one. Darth Gently, Locked Demos Thenas 2, Maynard Saves. Hey Maynard, it's been a minute. Kintsugi Warrior, and then Ross Dog Broken Spirit. Hell yeah, it did miss. It missed both Dave and Samantha. Maybe they don't have their account set up to receive gift memberships though. You got to be able to, you got to accept them before, or set your account to accept them before they can get them. So, you know.
It's 2 in the morning. Jones just came back from some mission. Says he needs to talk to my dad. My dad tells him to fuck off not this early, and Jones puts something on my dad's chest. It's the leg of one of these small things. My dad freaks and Jones puts a hand over his mouth and tells my dad a story. This is where it all comes together and clench your ass no
The best way to get me to give you my attention in the middle of the night is not to put dead animal parts on my chest. That's probably a good way to get kicked. I'm probably going to kick you.
Room breaks until the ride has stopped. Some of you may say this sounds like a story with supporting information leading to a climax. Fuck you. Got to make it sound good for YouTube, eh? Jones proceeds to tell my father the most fucking incredible story I have ever heard. It confirms many theories on 4chan and IRL, and it proves American collusion with China's human trafficking, and it confirms the reason.
Yes, Vandalia, and I tried to let the hate flow through me, and all it did was give me IBS. I still have that to this day. No force. Maybe I've internalized my force lightning, and that's what's going on in my stomach. It's just a mess of force lightning wrecking my guts. Hold on. I went to Sith because Bree wouldn't teach me electromancy, and now Bree is siding with me about learning Sith lightning. I woke up in the Twilight Zone. Well, we will do electromancy, or it's called ergokinesis. ERGO kinesis. That'll appear on the poll at some point, I'm sure. We've done pyrokinesis, we've done telekinesis, and we've done hydrokinesis, and we've done the weather manipulation, which I call tempestari, but I'm sure you could come out with other names for it too. You could probably come up with a kinesis for it, like a meteorokinesis or something.
For tunnel warfare training U.S. Marines recently undertook. Y'all ready? Jones gets woken up at 5 in the morning the previous day by his squad leader. Let's call him Jack. Jack tells him to get his ass up. To clarify, these are SWAT A, with a total of 12 men in the squad, and that they're going somewhere. Jones expects an expedition with.
Some are funner than others, Ember, I'll tell you that. Some ways are better than others.
Some researchers, but they go to the military Dakar with a hole up top for a gun turret.
Magnetomancy, oh my. You're trying to piss off the weasel cult with that kind of talk, John Hudson. I do think that we probably need to master our kinetic abilities efficiently before we go to Antarctica. I think the most important people that when we get to Antarctica is probably going to be the pyromancers. But the thing is that like most of you, like the people that I was training in pyromancy in the Hive, y'all have like really taken to it. So I'm glad. But we're going to need to keep warm in Antarctica. And plus you can use your pyromancy to fight giant spiders.
They have an M134 minigun inside the truck. BC, it's technically demilitarized, but not really, and load up their gear. They leave and make a beeline for the area everyone avoids. My dad figured this out when he said the heading was southeast, and they get to this office building and it looks sorta like PIC related, according to father's recollection, and they drove up to it. They park out front, operator their way inside, and it's fucking carnage. Thinking government lab in season 2 of Stranger Things is just fucking nuts. They clear.
Now we're doing referencing Stranger Things. Magnets and pelagic tunicates rule. Pelagic tunicates. You're trying to piss off the Dapper dinosaur too. I won't tell Dapper you said that, but you should reconsider your life choices. I'm flipping my shoes off because I want to sit on my knees for a minute. Just letting y'all know why I was shifting around like a weirdo. I shift around a lot. Do not fight the spiders. Spiders are our friends. Well, these aren't really spiders, Simply Secular Dave. They're 5-legged alien mutants or government experiments. We're going to find out. Is it Jones? Jones is going to tell us. Jones is going to tell us about the spiders, the delicious crustaceans.
Rooms when one of their guys gets merced by one of these tiny fuckers. They light it up and keep going. There are offices with names on them. Some American, some Chinese, some Chilean. There are bodies everywhere. It's crazy, right? So 2 more guys get injured and they're moved outside to the truck. The rest of them move downstairs to the tunnels. It's a secret lab. And it is gigantic. They have a strider in a cage. It's that fucking big. Or at least they used to. Many of the cages are broken open and there are dead bodies everywhere. Jones doesn't say much about this stuff here other than there are tunnels with bullet trains in them with destinations like Hong Kong, New York, Melbourne. A city for every major country.
Fuck yeah, there's bullet trains in Antarctica going all over the world. I am super into that. Let's do that. I learned to love the pelagic tunicate from Vishanti back when I was called Agamotto 1313. Fucking doctor called me on Saturday. Scared the shit out of me. I was thinking it was urgent bad news. They just wanted to schedule an optional follow-up appointment. Why are they calling you on a Saturday for that?
Out there. They find a cage that has been ripped into with 2 spiders in it. They are eating children. In Antarctica there are children? Shouldn't be fucking possible. Oh, wait, China. It's been known for a while that China plays a part in its huge amount of human trafficking. Now we know where the bodies go. They found a few scientists.
Human trafficking bodies go to Antarctica to feed these giant spiders. I think we're okay to kill them with our pyromancy if they eat children, right? We can. Now I have some second thoughts about eating them, though. Even though they look delicious, they look like they taste like lobster tail.
And move them to a different base. Exterminate most of the fuckers in there and move out. It took them almost 18 hours of pure fighting to clear that place out. So guys, I guess we know what's really going on. And I'm very, very, very grateful to get all of this out there. Honestly, my dad would kill me if he knew I have shared this, but honestly, I'm sick and fucking tired. I remember a time where I didn't know, where I grasped at straws for an answer to questions I could barely understand. Here at /x/here are your answers. Does he still have the Polaroid? He says no. You getting that PC to work anon? Runs, but I don't have a keyboard. Okay, so what are the Striders? Extraterrestrial? Interdimensional? Subterranean? Hyper-evolved apex predator? We'll answer questions.
I'm a hyper-evolved and apex predator.
For a few minutes, ask away while you can. Subterranean, they start off small but grow real fucking fast. I'm assuming you're same fag high on weed guy. I haven't read M411, but I think I should. I feel like it should be entirely possible for the government to take what they found in Antarctica, bring it to America for study and lessen climate weather. They just hyper-evolved apex animals from underground? Or more intelligent? Are they an engineered species from a different time or alien race? Think they are frozen since the Ice Age, and were apex predators at the time.
Since the Ice Age, in Antarctica, the Ice Age has been going on a lot longer than it has everywhere else on the planet.
Dog intelligence. Are they demons? No, less supernatural, more cryptid. These things can be killed by conventional weapons? We talking rifles and the like? Yeah, bullets work well against something that evolved long before humans. Not much armor, think like a bug, hard outer shell but easy to penetrate with a 556 FMJ. So the Chinese pipe the dead bodies of child laborers.
Full Metal Jacket. So the Chinese pipe the dead bodies of children, of child laborers and human trafficking. Oh goodness.
And human trafficking there to feed these things in Antarctica? Not just there, and for more than food. Probably also experiments. What about the office building? Was it built by us, or was it there when we found it? Built by us. Think just standard office building, reinforced for the winters. Yeah, it's me and bro piece together what I just said and what you're saying, and I swear to God we might get JFK'd lol. Bring it the fuck on, brother. Defend our Mother Earth against any alien threats. The Navy sends their ships, the Air Force brings their jets. But nothing can withstand out of fixed bayonets. The EDF deploy always. Y'all, I finna pass out. It's good to know I made my mark on 4chan history. With that, son of Antanan disappears. Until. Hello, gentlemen.
I wish they'd say his name is son of Ant Anon.
The thread was then moved as a massive amount of shills came out of nowhere posting disinfo, take your meds, etc. I'm back, faggots, and I got news. As I said, this Anon always delivers. Yesterday I said 9 o'clock p.m. EST, and on my clock it's 9 o'clock p.m. EST. I can't find the last thread it was sometime around midnight last night that I joined it. Found the old 3 a dim stupid, read to get up to date. So the hard drive died a while ago, and my dad replaced it with a micro SD, had to lie to get him to open the case, so no paper with name, but compare the desk and it's the same. Apple 2C hard drives didn't last long enough to be able to get the information off them. They are a 30-year-old computer. Apparently my dad replaced the hard drive with a SCSI to micro SD card, and the drive is long gone. Convenient? Yes. Disappointing? Also yes. But it'd rather come back and tell you than ghost and be regarded as a shill. It's entirely possible he held onto it. He holds onto everything. So I would have to go through boxes and boxes of old electronics to find the 40 megabytes hard drive that came with it.
Well, do it. I want to see the pictures of the giant spiders.
He'll go look and send a pic of what I would have to work with. It's Possible, but I think it's just for research. Also on the LARPing thing, yeah, I know I slipped up when I said NDA, it wasn't exactly that and it was more technical, but long story short, they couldn't legally get rid of him without a fuss being raised. They definitely have. I know a of Oklahoma story of something similar to what—
You're gonna bring garlic bread into a vampire stream?
what my dad saw in Antarctica, and small spider-like creatures are in all kinds of these stories. Like I said, he doesn't get rid of anything. This is a third of the stuff in that storage room, and we have twice as much as this in the garage. Gentlemen, I found 2 Apple hard drives from the 90s. Here they are. Wanted to update before I got the upload off my phone. Then Anon goes full retard and almost breaks the damn drives. Photo of the backs off, copyright 1988 on the chip for both of them. I'ma take the one with the Apple sticker on it apart and see if I can find why it broke. If that screwdriver is the type with magnet tips, get it the fuck away from the drives. Why are you taking apart hard drives? Holy shit, stop nigger, WTF are you doing?
Oh my god, I apologize, I didn't see that coming. I didn't know there was going to be, I should have figured since this is from an image board, but I'll take that into consideration next time we cover anything.
My intelligent man brain is telling me this same hard drive hoax has been done 100 times. My schizophrenic monkey brain is creaming his genes that OP may deliver. The concerns are warranted, but as I said before, this is a 30-year-old hard drive for unsupported OS that I know almost for a fact is broken. I think your intelligent side is right for thinking that, but it ain't no hoax. I'm not promising shit, all I know is what I have been told. My dad archived his own stories and the stories of people he worked with while he was at McMurdo. They are supposedly on this hard drive. This hard drive has been broken for at least 5 years. I'm not sure what else I can say. Don't misunderstand me, bro. I thank you for sharing this. But how hard is it for some suit to check which Joseph served in Murdo Station in the 90s? You didn't think this through. Should have covered the whole name and withheld the year. But you didn't, so enjoy your close encounter of the government type. You're right, but fuck it. I ain't doing much with this life anyways. You should ask /G/what
so, yeah, we probably could find out who was the, I'm not interested enough to look it up, because this is all BS, but who the doctor was at McMurdo, and find out who this kid is that's posting all this stuff based on the memorabilia from his time there that we can see. We could definitely go through all the steps and try to track down this guy, but I'm not gonna do that. But I could. People underestimate what a good investigator I am.
Good idea. Wiring on both sides looks like it's probably the disc inside. Done. Honestly, I'm not sure what to do. I ain't good with this kind of stuff. Most of the drives of this type died a long time ago, including this one, and I've shared all the stories. I have any suggestions, my guys? Yeah guys, I can't get info out of the drive without professional help. They'll go to a data recovery guy and get it out for you. I'm in too deep for this now. Proof it's locked. I will be back as soon as I can. I need to wait for a paycheck before I can recover it, and that's next Tuesday at the very least. Goodbye for now, Emmons. If you don't hear from me again, it is because I'm gone. If there is one thing this Anon does, it's deliver. Now we anxiously await to see whether or not Anon's asshole is turned into a fruit smoothie by Antarctic glow-nigger ninjas, or he comes up out of the blue and actually posts his findings. Godspeed, Anon.
There's that word again. I'm so sorry. This is the picture, though. Anyway, but I did want to go ahead and inform you guys that there are actually giant spiders in Antarctica. Absolutely huge unit giant spiders.
Welcome back to Nature League. It is the second week of the month, and that means it's time for a field trip. And we have been talking about metabolism and aging this month, so I am really excited to be joined by Dr. Art Woods here at the University of Montana. And I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about what he does.
I'm a professor of biology. I have a sort of long and nerdy history of working on insects and insect physiology. We're going to talk about some of the Antarctic work that I've done. And interested also.
I got to be careful with that one too, because it runs too long and triggers the algorithm if I don't like talk over it and stuff. So it doesn't seem like it's that long.
change and the effects of climate change on the ecology of invertebrates altogether, but what that really means is mostly insects, because that's the main thing that's on the Earth.
In wildlife biology and ecology, how would you define metabolism?
So metabolism is like the sum of all of the energy transformations that are going on inside your body. So it provides all the energy that lets us live.
What are some trends for life on Earth when it comes to metabolism or metabolic rate? Or are there...
The bugs are the good guys and Starship Troopers. Just need to remind everybody of that.
None, and there are just exceptions everywhere.
Bigger organisms almost always have bigger metabolic rates. Not always, but if you look at sort of statistically speaking, for sure, like a whale's going to have a way bigger metabolic rate than a donkey. And there's something called an aerobic scope that a lot of animals have. Well, all aerobic animals have this, but it's only been measured in some of them. And the idea is that you have some very low resting metabolic rate, and you also have some maximum amount of oxygen that you can burn.
And this thing this guy's going to talk about here is going to apply to any kind of like kaiju-sized cryptid that anybody's proposing. So we can wrap like all of them up in this.
And that provides a window, and the size of that window is sort of a measure of the capacity that you have to do work. And so different species have different size windows. Insects have the highest known aerobic scopes, so some of them that fly, like big moths and bumblebees and things like that, have an aerobic scope that's like 120, meaning that when they're flying, their metabolic rates are 120 times higher than they are when they're at rest.
What is the role of oxygen broadly in metabolism?
So you can think of the way we extract
spiracles work really good up to a certain size. For pulling oxygen in.
Energy from our food is like an energy waterfall, right? Yes. So you have energy in the food that you eat, and what our body does is it releases that energy and it lets it fall down this waterfall inside our cells, and that releases energy, and we use that energy to make ATP. So we're charging up ATP, and it turns out that how much energy you get from your food depends mostly on what the level is at the bottom, right? So you can get more energy if you can make the bottom of the waterfall go lower.
Sure,
right?
To have
because
more steps.
Hell yeah, John Hudson. Sounds like you're winning. Camp Lucy, might as well call it Camp Lucky.
Falling
to release
further.
more energy, yeah.
And it turns out that oxygen is like one of the lowest bottoms that you can use, and that's literally why we use oxygen for aerobic respiration, because you get so much more energy than you would if you use something else as the sort of bottom, what we call the electron acceptor at the very end of the process.
And we see that occasionally. Some other examples would be something like sulfur, so in an anaerobic situation, right? But in terms of the things that we know and familiar to us, things like mammals and, like you said, animals, oxygen's playing that game at the bottom, receiving those electrons at the end game. But invertebrates play the game a little differently. So how are invertebrates taking in oxygen?
Yeah, two things. So one is it gets back to why insects are so amazing and have such high aerobic scopes. What that really means is that they have a system in their body that can deliver
spiracles
oxygen at super
or
high rates.
book lungs. I don't know if I think sea spiders have book lungs.
To their muscles that are using up that oxygen, and that system is called the tracheal system. Basically a bunch of tubes that are filled with air that branch and go throughout their body and basically go to every mitochondrion in every cell. And it's like an ultra high performance system because oxygen can move way faster in air than it can in water.
Right.
So
it's basically like saying insects have fuel injection for respiration.
Basically why insects can have such incredibly high metabolic rates and fly. Yeah.
And now a word, not from our sponsors, but from the dictionary. Welcome to this month's Wild Word. Once a month on Nature League, we'll look at the etymology or origin and history of words related to nature. This month's theme is metabolism and aging. But instead of picking a word within that theme, why not break down the theme itself? This month's Wild Word is metabolism. During our metabolism and aging lesson plan, we discussed the definition of the word metabolism and how it broadly has to do with the whole sum of energetic reactions in an organism. The word metabolism can actually be traced back to ancient Greek, but it has two separate parts we should look at. The prefix meta has a lot of different meanings, some of which include between, higher, beyond, and by means of. In Greek, the prefix meta would also be used to denote a change, and this is most likely the original source definition. The second part of the word metabolism most likely comes from the Greek verb ballein, which means to throw. Metabolism in the biological sense is all about energy, and the ways that energy is either released by chemical reactions or is used in your lab. But in terms of temperature and metabolism, what kind of projects do you have going on?
Major thing we've done in the last few years is to work on sea spiders in the oceans.
Yay!
Worked on this
They're so cool
pattern, looking. Which has been known for maybe 100 years.
Way more than 5 legs, though.
Called polar gigantism. And what that means is that marine invertebrates that live near the poles tend to have much larger bodies than their relatives that live elsewhere in the world. And so we've been working on some sort of metabolic explanations of that. In cold water, things have low metabolic rates because they're cold. And that means that they're not using oxygen very, very fast. And at the same time, in polar waters, there's usually a lot of oxygen available. Some of the highest oxygen levels in the world are around Antarctica. And so you have this situation where there's a lot of supply and not very much demand, and we think that allows...
Yeah, there's like a whole community of people who build and work on vintage computers. Jason, I've seen that too.
Really cheap prices.
Yeah, basically. Well, we think it allows things to evolve really thick tissues and really large body sizes, and they can still get enough oxygen into their tissues.
Oh, sure.
And so it kind of opens the window for body size, and they can push up to the top end of that window.
What kind of benefit is there to being larger in a region like Antarctica?
That idea that I just explained to you is really about the opportunity window, right? So what sizes can you be? And we're saying that the upper limit is bigger. But
Thermoregulation.
Doesn't say like why do lineages evolve into the upper end of that range. We think that there's probably one of two things. Either that the window is larger and so some lineages just by chance evolve into it. The other possibility is that there really is some selective advantage to being larger, and you can think of a lot of them. So the sea spiders, they walk on the bottom of the ocean. And the biggest ones actually walk quite a bit faster than the smaller ones. These really big ones are mostly scavengers. So they're walking around trying to find stuff that's like trapped on the bottom or falling down dead, and they're going to pull off little pieces of it. And you can imagine that being big and walking fast.
So you got an Antarctic sea spider and then a regular like sea spider from non-Antarctic waters are tiny.
Would give you a real advantage for finding that stuff faster than everybody else.
When we study how things have adapted to colder or warmer environments, that is going to matter when we think of the global change that is occurring. So if something is really well suited for this colder environment and so well suited that it even...
What would you call them? Vintage computers? Yeah. Vintage. They are. It's like a vintage arcade machine. Vintage Commodore. Anything from the 80s would be vintage at this point. Because vintage just means it's over 25 years old. So really things from the 90s could even be vintage.
Even has to do with oxygen and metabolism and these very fundamental things. What does that look like in the long term for the ability to evolve if those colder spaces are no longer cold? You mentioned that the colder waters have more oxygen. That seems really important. Yeah, so what does that look like in a changing world?
There's a couple things. So one is we found that the metabolic rates of the sea spiders are incredibly sensitive to temperature. So this was work done by Caitlin Shishido, who's a grad student in Hawaii.
Cool.
So she experimentally brought them into the lab and warmed up the water a little bit and measured how fast they used oxygen. And what happens is their metabolic rates skyrocket.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they're like way higher at even 2 or 3 degrees compared to...
I am not adapted to a cold environment.
Minus 1.8 degrees Celsius, which is what the seawater temperature is. And so that implies that, potentially a lot of things. It implies that they may grow a lot faster, they may have to find a lot more food, they may have problems getting enough oxygen. And so, their bodies are burning up this oxygen, and then they're getting it in by this process of diffusion. And so I've developed a little mathematical model that sort of keeps track of those processes, and it predicts that as the water warms up, the oxygen levels inside the sea spiders are going to go
Ember
down.
is vintage. Actually, Ember, I think once you pass 50, you get to be antique. So we're almost antique, babe. Just a few short years and we'll be antique. Me and Ember are the same age.
And if they go down too far, that's going to be a problem because it's going to inhibit their ability to move around. They're going to feel like they're suffocating all the time.
Right.
And we're worried that the biggest sea spiders are the ones that are going to feel this the most. The big things are going to suffer the most.
And if big things are being affected, big things eat big quantities of food and probably have a big...
There we go. Jason's got it figured out. The reason other sea spiders are smaller is because of tariffs. Elect me as president and all the sea spiders will be gigantic. Jason Fox 2028 a future with giant spiders is the future for me.
Impact if you're looking at total kind of spatial manipulation or even other effects within the food level. Yeah, I feel like looking at these questions is such a cool way to touch on so many different pieces of life on Earth and how we're all making it work and finding a way and what that means in something so different from us. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been awesome.
All right, yeah, and this was I like this channel. This was like the Nature League. Am I subscribed? Yes, I'm subscribed, but I'm gonna ring the bell too because I like them. They're fun. This is an older video, 7 years. So we talked about giant spiders exist in Antarctica as presented to us by the Paranormal Archives. Oh my god, aliens. That's from they haven't done anything in a couple of years. Monsters in the mountains. Demons, aliens, cryptids. Oh my. Something is in here with me. Spooky green text story. We gotta talk about the black goo. I wonder if they talk about the black goo. Mermaids discovered. Hells yeah. Santa deniers. Haha. Yeah, but I don't think I'm going to subscribe to this channel. Well, I only got 92 subscribers. Why not? This is something I can come back and visit if I need to. I'm going to subscribe. It wasn't that bad. But what do you guys think about giant spiders in Antarctica? Do they chill your bones? Do you think this is just a nonsense story in a blurry picture? That's what I kind of think at this point. But you let me know in the comments down below. And please remember to be kind. Take care. And we will see you next time. All right. Live from the Hive audience. Don't go anywhere because there's more show that's coming. Right? This is just our first little intermission. And we will be back with our weekend weirdness, which is going to be about the Philadelphia experiment. So I don't think you want to miss out on that. I think a lot of people are here specifically for that. But I need to take a potty break, right? Almost out of coffee. So I will be back with you momentarily. So there's going to be a quick intermission. Don't go anywhere. Please do not leave, because the best part of the show for today, I think, is going to be this Philadelphia experiment coverage. So don't leave. And I'll be back in just a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Joint Forces, I am here today to inform you that a number of unidentified flying objects have appeared over many parts of our country. Though their exact origin remains to be fully determined, the FBI has informed me that it is very likely that these are visitors of extraterrestrial nature. I advise the American people to remain calm, not fall into panic, and wait for further announcements. We shall overcome this threat with confidence and vigilance. May God protect our souls.
right. Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another Week in Weird. We ran the polls this week, and you guys wanted to know about the Philadelphia experiment, what that was all about. So here we are, Philadelphia experiment. It was during World War II, early in World War II, as far as the U.S. goes, anyhow. But when we go out here, there it is. I'm just gonna pop it up. Is that it? Yeah. All right. So we're gonna use this channel here. Secret Origins. Secret Origins. I'll work on it. Secret Origins. Let me know if you want to contract me to do your intro. I tried to do it for Mind Unveiled. They have not got back with me. Mind Unveiled. I think I have a good voice for it. But this place does a lot of alien stuff. A lot of woo-woo stuff. Hidden civilizations. Oh, Antarctica. We were just there on our last little excursion looking at giant spiders. Man who spent 3 years with tall white aliens. You got Noah's Ark on the side of a mountain. You got Lemuria. Oh my. Earth's lost Ice Age civilization. The superior human species. Why all ancient gods came from the sky. So they got some like woo-woo stuff going on here. This is it's gonna be a fun one. And I'm using this channel, who describes themselves as a channel for documentaries about ancient mysteries, lost civilizations, extraterrestrials, forbidden knowledge, and hidden secrets of humanity. Our purpose is to seek the truth and build community of people who are passionate about the secrets of our world and the hidden knowledge about our true history and nature. All right. But specifically for today, we're going to delve into the Philadelphia experiment. Let's get going. Secret Origins.
A naval military project that took place in 1943. During World War II, the US Navy was conducting experiments aimed at making their ships undetectable to enemy radar. The project involved the use of a range of technologies, including electromagnetic fields, in an attempt to achieve this goal. Despite its controversial nature,
this checks out.
The Philadelphia experiment has captured the public's imagination and has been the subject of numerous books, films, and documentaries. Today, we will delve into the mystery of the Philadelphia experiment, examine these technologies used, and discuss the impact and legacy of this mysterious event. Join us.
Woo! Jason Jacoby gifting more memberships out there. We got one for Ielgas. We got one for James Nordhoff. Got one for Akalia. Aunt Jur got one. Hello, Deviant Outcast. Hello, beautiful and Bree and lovely chatters. I'm making a tiny Intarsia table, but I'm here, listening, lurking, liking, crafting in the background. Neat. And Jason got a membership too. Dragons and Genesis. Make sure, Samantha, make sure you got your account set so that you can receive gift memberships, because sometimes you have to set it up. And hello, Moon at Noon. You ready to learn about the Philadelphia experiment too, Moon at Noon?
As we explore one of the most intriguing stories of World War II in the new episode of Secret Origins. Welcome.
Secret Origins.
The Philadelphia experiment, an event that is key in our history. Why? A legend about an entire ship being moved in space-time. But is this just a legend, or is it becoming one because the government is hiding it from us? What are the consequences, and what is the different point of view?
I'll forget if you don't remind me.
The Philadelphia experiment, or officially known as Project Rainbow, was a top-secret attempt by the military to make a warship invisible. Invisible to radar, though. The year is 1943, right in the middle of World War II. Now, the experiment we're assuming you've at least heard about involves...
So, to be clear, Project Rainbow didn't really start until the 1950s. So, calling this part of Project Rainbow is... Let me see, let me check my sources on that. Make sure I'm not talking out of my ass. Yeah, 1957 was the first operational flight of Project Rainbow. Name given by the CIA to a research project aimed at reducing radar cross-sections on the Lockheed U-2 and lowering chances that it would be detected and tracked by Soviet radar. So this is well after World War II. This is during the Cold War. Radars during its overflights of the USSR. So it was a project to try to make radar-resistant planes to fly over Russia and spy. That's the long and short of it. And we did with this. This project led to the stealth bomber. A lot of the stuff that's, well, I shouldn't say it led to. A lot of the things that they discovered and learned about radar in this project led to the stealth bomber.
Battleship Eldridge. According to Bob Frizzle, the technology that the military received for the experiment was from the Grey Aliens, and their idea was that the US wanted to win the war with it. Project Rainbow is the forerunner of today's stealth technology, as the plan was to create an electromagnetic battle that effectively deflects radar waves from the ship. However, while the goal is for the ship Eldridge to disappear only from the radar range, the experiment goes in a completely unexpected and sideways direction. It becomes invisible to everyone and temporarily disappears from space-time.
So they're just trying to bend the radar, and they made the ship vanish from space-time.
The experiment was developed by Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein, with Tesla himself in charge at the beginning. He insisted that the experiment be carried out without the crew, but his proposal was not accepted and he ended his participation and was replaced by Dr. John von Neumann. What the assigned team does is to trigger fields that spin counterclockwise along with a few more steps involving the speed of light to go from one dimension to another, or in another reality. What is seen is a red mist around the traveler, and the colors are constantly changing from red to orange, yellow, green, blue, which is why it's called Project Rainbow. But when the colors start to flow into each other, the researchers panic and try to turn it off, only to make the situation worse, and the ship crashes interdimensionally, or
doom, doom, doom. It crashes interdimensionally. How do you crash interdimensionally? What are you running into in the dimensions between? Is there like is the Titanic there? Right? Yeah. What are we running into?
disappears for a bit from our space-time. The Eldridge disappeared from the Philadelphia Navy Yard for about 4 hours, and the ship also appeared in passages due to space-time, and when it returned, it was transparent. When it returns, the results are shocking. Humans had left the physical universe and there was no known environment around to connect it to. On their return to port, some passengers were stuck in the bulkheads of the
ship. Were they passengers or sailors? You think they'd just be military personnel on board?
Itself. Some burned, some materialized and dematerialized, and some never.
Look at that shit being fused to the ship. That'd be a hell of a way to go.
Returned at all. Those who survived were mentally disoriented and terrified. The interesting thing is that none of this became purposeful, because back then, the concept of teleportation was not known to our scientists. After spending considerable time in rehabilitation, the crew was subsequently released as mentally unfit. The diagnosis, mentally unfit, proved very convenient in order to cover up their stories. This, of course, resulted.
Yeah, because you can say that so it's self-refuting. The more that they deny the people talking about it are telling the truth, the more it proves the theory. If the U.S. military had discovered a way to teleport an entire ship, the entire world would know, because we would be using the hell out of it. Even if it did fuse soldiers to the ship, the U.S. military doesn't care. Soldiers are just meat for the freaking battlefield for those people. Yeah. Seeing that Tesla died in 1943, the time window is pretty slim, right? And he was, I think by that time he was already destitute, wasn't he? Maybe that's why Tesla died.
In Project Rainbow being frozen, and while a major breakthrough had been made, there was no guarantee that humans would be able to survive further experiments. It's interesting what happened to two crew members who started running at the start of the experiment. They jumped off the ship and started swimming, but when they reached land, they found themselves not in the harbor of Philadelphia, but on Long Island, New York, 40 years later in 1983.
You know, you think about like time travel and the rotation of the Earth and the Earth's procession around the sun, that if you time traveled, you would end up in space. Right? Like, almost like 99% of the time, you're going to end up in outer space. Unless your temporal travel is like somehow magnetically secured to the Earth to keep you bound. But even then, the spin of the Earth would rotate you. You might end up in the middle of the ocean. And there's a good chance of that. I mean, I think that 70% of the Earth's surface is covered in ocean. So, ship goes from Norfolk. Yeah, where is the shipyard? Let's have a look here. So, Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. Is it still operational? No, it stopped being used in 1995. But we can go look at it on the map just the same. It's not going to be down here. Where is it? Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. I suppose that's the function. No, that looks right. It's the right shape and everything. Yeah. Okay, so this is the room where it happened. Let's go down and have a look. There are big warships down here. And little warships too, but can we drop down in there, or is it all off limits? Ooh, we can drop down right here. Oh, it doesn't have the same ships there when I drop down, though. We just save this on the map. Failed? What do you mean failed? Let's try this again, shall we? Save. Favorites. There, good grief. Because we've been here now, we have to save. Where else can we walk? Ooh, there's a bridge. Let's do that. So you can see all the ships. This is where the Philadelphia experiment allegedly happened. That's wild. Here's some commercial vessels. Look at those, though. Do any of these have teleportation powers?
Their names are Duncan and Edward, later known as Albielek Cameron. The reason is that the Project Montauk experiment was taking place at the same time, and the two experiments were connected. According to Albielek, there are 4 biofields on planet Earth, and all 4 come together at a peak every 20 years on August.
Oh, they're going to give us a specific... So, we have to do it just right on the right day. Let's see. Correct. Human vampire. Time travel is the easy part. Determining where here will be in 10 minutes is a major issue, right? As the world turns. It's not just time to be calculated. Your position in an endless universe is critical to your destination. Time travel is a Rube Goldberg plan. That's poetic. We did figure out the temporal coordination. Well, we did figure out the temporal coordinate is nailed down to the expansion rate of the universe. So on the plus side, if you do figure out time travel, you can ignore the that variable at least. Wait, are you human? Are you a human type vampire? I am. I'm a vampire. I don't know about yeah. I'm a vampire. That's why I'm so good at being a cryptozoologist. There is a mothball fleet down there of hundreds of vessels. It takes about 30 minutes to drive past them all. That's cool. Elon shot a car at a planet and managed to miss. Yeah, Elon's a dumbass, though. But you also arrive smaller if you're going to the future, or larger if you return to the past. So you're saying if I go back to the Cretaceous, I might be dinosaur-sized and be able to hold, or bigger than a dinosaur, and be able to hold a T-Rex like a puppy? Is that what you're telling me? We don't know what 33I Atlas is, or I don't know. She's saying there to Ember. Ember will sort it out for you. An anomaly that should iron itself out. We can get to Mars so easily this way. Yeah, right? With our teleporting battleships, it's teleporting starships. This is why Elon uses artificial insemination. He can't hit shit. the sad part that Elon really believes he can deliver on his promises. Do you think so? I think he's been promising all kinds of stuff. He's like, "Oh, self-driving cars by 2016." Tesla's working on it now. Remember the Hyperloop that was supposed to be down here in the Southwest? Yeah, it was in Vegas, wasn't it?
12. At these very moments, a sufficiently strong energy is created, with which a hyperspace world field is created, which causes the ship Eldridge to slip, if that is what we can call it, in space in 1943. Dr. John von Neumann, who led the experiment, was called to work on the Manhattan Project. He was associated with the atomic bomb.
Ooh, let's drag the Manhattan Project into this. So we got we've got with the Philadelphia experiment, we got the Project Rainbow, and we have the Manhattan Project now looped in. I think all we need now is MK Ultra and Montauk, the Montauk experiments to loop it in, and it'll be like this perfect conspiracy military experiment network. We can really start connecting the threads. So if you have MK Ultra or Project Montauk on your bingo cards, I'd be poised to shout bingo.
Which became the weapon that ended World War II. Although it's not widely known, the extensive research that began with Project Rainbow was resumed in the late 1940s, precisely with Project Montauk, with a hole opened in the time.
Project Montauk! I knew it! Yes! I oh my goodness. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit because we're never gonna get through this. I'm too chatty this morning. I'm gonna put
Space Continuum. Although the US Navy has explained that no such experiment took place, many researchers disagree, and they have their reasons. Documents from 1943 have been found which confirms that Einstein was in the service of the Navy Department in Washington. Witnesses began to appear and tell stories.
So Einstein can like be a mathematician, consultant, physicist, whatever, to the Navy and not be involved in the Philadelphia Project.
How they personally saw the Eldridge disappear. There even was a newspaper clipping from those times, which talked about soldiers who got off the ship and melted right before the eyes of the witnesses. The Philadelphia experiment is an example of a story that just refuses to die. There is a mysterious aura about it that is constantly exploited. These words from Jackie's Valley, one of the most brilliant paranormal investigators.
There you go. Well, that's what I'm saying. They're mixing all kinds of stuff from the 50s. And Project Rainbow wasn't until the 50s. Other countries have bullet trains. We have a failed tunnel designed to only allow the shittiest e-cars to drive. John Newman traveled back in time to lead this project. Yeah, because he didn't, as Ember points out, he didn't start working on this on any nuclear projects until the 50s, 1954.
Clearly demonstrate the skepticism of many scientists towards the story of the disappearance of the destroyer Eldridge. Now we're going to go back a bit to see how it all started. In 1912, a mathematician named David Hilbert,
going all the way back to 1912. Oh, we got to talk about Hilbert space. Okay.
Developed several different methods of new mathematics. One of these is known as the Hilbert space. He developed equations for multiple realities and spaces. He met Dr. von Neumann in 1926 and shared his information with him. Von Neumann took many of the systems he learned from Hilbert and worked with them. According to Einstein, von Neumann was one of the most amazing mathematicians. He had the unusual ability to take abstract theoretical concepts from mathematics and apply them to situations in physics. Dr. Levinson, who developed Levinson's equations of time, also appeared in the story. He published 3 books which are now rare and almost impossible to find. Serious research on the issue of invisibility began in the early 1930s at the University of Chicago.
So it's weird to loop Project Rainbow into this, because Project Rainbow was specifically invisibility on radar, not like physically invisible, like you can't see the ship when you're looking at it. It was about it not showing up on a radar when the Soviets were trying to detect it. Not even a ship, it was a plane. Project Rainbow was a plane. Okay.
Dr. John Hutchinson, dean at the time, was aware of the 145, the Montauk Project work of Dr. Kortenhauer, then an Austrian physicist at the university. Later, Nikola Tesla joined them. Together, they studied the nature of relativity and invisibility. In 1933, the Institute for Prospective Studies was formed at Princeton with Albert Einstein and John von Neumann. In 1936, the project developed even further, and Tesla was appointed director. With Tesla on board, partial invisibility was achieved before the end of the year. Research continued until 1940, when a full test was made at the Brooklyn shipyard. The test was small, and there was no one on board. The ship used was powered by generators from other ships.
The Brooklyn shipyard for that first test. In the 30s, they said they're doing this. Yeah, have a good one, Dragons and Genesis podcast. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe to Jason. I don't know if I have a prompt for you still. I've had to redo them so many times, I can't even remember. Dragons and Genesis. I think it might be gone. Sorry, babe, I don't have a link for you. But if you're not subscribed to Jason's channel, go subscribe.
By cables. At this stage, another scientist got involved, T. Brown, who is known for his practical ability to apply theoretical physics. By 1941, Tesla already had the full confidence of the rulers, and they provided him with a ship. Tesla's famous transformers were also used on this ship. As the project developed, the inventor was cautious because he knew there would be stuffing problems. Perhaps he understood it because of his ability to fully visualize his invention.
Yeah, don't you know, Einstein worked for Tesla, for the U.S. military. Even though Tesla at this point, I believe that... When did Tesla's life kind of fall apart? Let me see. There we go. Nikola Tesla. I'm going to bring this over so you all can see too, so we can research this together and find out if they're full of shit. All right, so Nikola Tesla died in 43, at the very beginning of 43 too, which is weird to say that he's involved in this project, which means he could have the most 6 days involvement, because the Eldridge allegedly disappeared. No, that's the shipyard. What happened to the Philadelphia experiment thing I had pulled up here? There we go. Alright, so the Philadelphia experiment happened in October, so Tesla was not around for that, but I believe Tesla would have been destitute at this point. Wireless power. Yeah, he was onto something there. It's unfortunate that Edison wanted to keep us tethered. And there's this cool place that he built. After Wading Cliff closed, Tesla continued to write to Morgan. After the great man died, Tesla wrote to Morgan's son Jack, trying to get further funding for projects. In 1906, Tesla opened offices at 165 Broadway in Manhattan, trying to raise further funds by developing and marketing his patents. He went on to have offices at the Metropolitan Life Tower in 1910 to 1914 for a few months. Let's see, at the Woolworth building, moving out because he could not afford the rent, and then to office space at 8 West 40th Street in 1915 to 1925. After moving to 8 West 40th Street, he was effectively bankrupt. This is in 1925. Most of his patents had run out, and he was having trouble with the new inventions he was trying to develop. So, by that time, he was pretty broke. Let's see. Then we get into the 1930s. At the 1932 party, Tesla claimed he had invented a motor that could run on cosmic rays. Hell yeah. In 1933, at the age of 77, we need to keep that in mind too. Like, they're talking about this happening in 1943, right? He was 77 here. In 1935, he's 79, and they're talking about him working on this project almost a decade after this. Don't be crazy, people. In 1937, and say, is there anything about him working at all for the U.S. military later in life? I don't think they would have hired a 85-year-old man to work on this project. I just don't see that happening.
In his mind, and to always be several steps ahead of everyone else. In any case, Tesla knew that the mental state and bodies of the crew would be seriously affected and even injured. He needed more time to perfect the experiment and try to make it safe for the participants. Von Neumann, however, strongly resisted this, and the two never got along. Von Neumann was an outstanding scientist, but he did not care for metaphysics, and for Tesla it was something common, and he had created successful inventions based on his unique foresight. Part of what caused Tesla to give up was that during his experiments in Colorado Springs around 19,000, he said that an intelligence from another planet contacted him through constant signal messages. This happened in 1926 as well.
The funny thing about that, though, Tesla's communication with extraterrestrials, was that he was actually picking up, I believe, what we now know is radiation signals from outside heavenly bodies, which was further used to identify the cosmic radioactive cosmic background noise or whatever, which we used to orchestrate the Big Bang Theory. Metaphysics, they mean woo-woo, not philosophy.
Radio towers were erected at the Waldorf Astoria and his New York laboratory. He claimed to have received information that the experiment would lose people if things did not change. So, he needed time to invent a new equipment. Tesla's pleas for more time, however, were ignored. His government had a war to win, and further delay was not in their plans. Nikola Tesla secretly sabotaged the operation in March 1942. It is not known whether he was fired or left alone.
March 1942, he would have been 84 years old, 85 years old. This is crazy.
We can't go without mentioning one more thing about the ship Eldridge. After the end of the experiment, the ship enters the Greek fleet under the name Leon. It's interesting what the Greek journalist Pantolis discovers when he goes to find out if such an experiment was really carried out. He inspects that the entire ship, including the ship's logbook, and also manages to get an interview from two officers who served Leon. One of them served as a captain of Leon, and when he realized that the entire Greek fleet but himself knew that the Leon was the famous destroyer Eldridge of the Philadelphia experiment, he noticed two strange things. About one of them, he says the following: "The pages of the ship's log corresponding to the time of the experiment are missing. They're torn off. I asked 3 other captains who had served on the Leon before, and they all replied that the pages had been missing from the log since the ship had passed the Greek fleet." The other strange thing, the accounts
Spooky. It's got missing pages from its log.
The crew members who claimed to have seen strange things on the ship, something like ghosts or phantoms, and that several times their belongings having disappeared suddenly were later found in another place. Some claimed to have seen a greenish light enveloping the ship at night. If the testimony of this officer sounds strange, the words of the other who served on the ship as a chief engineer are no less weird. The first thing that struck me, the sailor recalled, was the unusual amount of cables stretched throughout the ship, as if they were remnants of a complex system of electrical equipment used here in the past. This marine engineer added that he sometimes
had a sneeze. So, what the claim now is that, okay, so apparently the ship's haunted, which I wasn't prepared for, but I'm glad.
Notices a strange vibration throughout the hull when the engines were running, as if the ship was under repair in dock. I was with one of the officers, and I thought an earthquake was starting, but then I realized that there was no seismic activity in the area where we were that day, he explains. What can explain all this? just self-suggestion or an echo of the strange phenomena that somehow got written into the structure of the ship. Now we'll go back to the time
or that they may need to pull in and have the engine looked at, have some mechanics in the engine room try to figure out what's going on and why it's shimmying and making bad noises. Sounds like something you want to consult a mechanic about before an exorcist.
Conducting the experiment. The interesting moment is that the two brothers, Duncan and Edward Cameron, start to run away from the ship. They suddenly find themselves 40 years later, miles from the port in Philadelphia. The two travel through time, return, and then detail classified information about U.S. projects that gives us an idea of what happened to the Eldridge ship and the Philadelphia experiment. How did this happen, and did it really happen? The Philadelphia experiment took place...
I love this conspiracy because it has ghosts and it has time travel and teleportation and invisibility and Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein, and it connects the Montauk experiment with the Philadelphia experiment with Project Rainbow, and yeah, it's all woven together.
On August 12, 1943, but 40 years later, on August 12, 1983, the same experiment was conducted again, and Al Bielek claimed to have the memories of Edward Cameron's life, as according to him, the secret government was given alien technology with which a person could regress to any age. Subsequently, this statement was confirmed.
Give me that technology, there's some things I need to do.
And Leading Edge News contacted Al and conducted an open interview to find out what really happened. Stay until the end to hear the whole story and see some of the predictions he made for the future. Bielek told his story to
Kristen.
an audience at the Mutual UFO Network conference in 1990, saying not only that the Philadelphia experiment was real, but that he and his brother were on board when it happened. He said that none other than Nikola Tesla himself
Bye, John Papiano.
designed the equipment that caused Eldridge to escape from space-time, and that even opened a wormhole to the future that dropped the two brothers into the middle of the Hero Montauk camp on August 12, 1983. Surely many of us
Is that why they decided to put Montauk there? Because I think Montauk's had since the had a situation. Montauk. Wow, I'm bouncing all over the place. Montauk. It's a book. Where's the conspiracy? Montauk Project. There we go. And that one's from the early 1980s. So yeah, I guess it could correspond. I thought the stuff started in the 70s and then rolled into the 80s, but it just says early 80s.
Like to be in his place at least for a while. He was born in 1927 in America and worked for various military subcontractors. He participated in secret projects related to time travel, meetings with extraterrestrials, and top secret inventions that we either read about in the books or we see in the movies.
The fun fact, Ember, the Eldridge is actually Atlantis that Homer was writing about, because it traveled back to ancient Greece and was seen off the coast as this big, I mean, the way they describe it is anything like an island. Obviously, it's a city, a floating city, an island, and then it disappears, so it sinks. It only appeared for a brief moment, but Homer wrote about it.
Assisted and created various covert and secret programs such as psychological operations involving the search for UFOs, which the Pentagon has officially recognized as true. But all this has a price, and
no, that's not how the Pentagon recognized. No, what the Pentagon did was say, yeah, UAPs are real. We don't know what unidentified aerial phenomena is. That's why there's a category called unidentified aerial phenomena. It doesn't mean they're extraterrestrial. It doesn't mean they're acknowledging they're extraterrestrial. They could be civilian. They could be foreign drones. They could be a lot of things that aren't extraterrestrial. They could be fucking birds. Some of them are birds, I know, because I've looked at them and the wings are flapping, but they have to call it a UAP because nobody on the military is willing to sign off and say, yes, I think this is a petrel or whatever.
Because of this, Bielek is deprived of his family, memories, and identity. Technology was often used on him, with which his memories were erased, but of course, like any technology, this one also made its mistakes, and after a while...
Yeah, Homer, not Aristotle. Right? Homer. Yeah, the Odyssey.
The process was reversed, and he not only remembered everything erased, but also received glimpses of the future. The age regression technique had been traced back to Nikola Tesla. While working on the original Philadelphia experiment, he developed a device to help sailors in case they lost their time points. The purpose of this device was to restore an individual to their normal time lock in case they were disoriented as a result of time travel. The government or someone used this Tesla device and developed it for temporal regression of the body. Tesla said that if an individual's time points were moved forward in time, it could remove age. If someone's time points are moved back 20
lots of Stranger Things imagery. Man, Stranger Things has really like invaded the culture of the woo community. They reference that show in all sorts of. I guess I should say the show references woo culture more than the other way around.
years, the body will be relative to the age. Edward Cameron has become Al Bielek. Al grew up with his own identity in education and became an engineer. Finally, he started working in Montauk. Here is what he explained in an interview. Bielek and his
are we
brother
going to connect it to Project Stargate too? That'd be badass.
Duncan were naval officers aboard the ship Eldridge involved in the experiment aimed at achieving invisibility. The first test on July 22, 1943 was successful in achieving radar sight and camera invisibility, but the people on board were badly affected by the electromagnetic radiation, leaving them disoriented and ill. During the experiment, Bielek and Duncan were in the control room and were shielded from the radiation. The Navy scheduled a second test for August 12 and set a deadline. The ship was meant to shift in time, making it invisible. However, after about 30 seconds of the experiment started, the equipment...
Anybody getting like Sam and Dean Winchester vibes from these two brothers?
...went crazy, and Bielek and Duncan observed strange effects in the control room, including electronic lights blinking in waves and high-voltage arcs appearing despite no high-voltage equipment in the room. They tried to reach someone on the radio but only heard crackling. When they went outside onto the deck, they saw a greenish mist and disoriented sailors running in circles. Bielek and his brother decided to jump off the board and swim to shore, but they never reached the water. They felt like they were falling through a tunnel and ended up
into the land. Oh, Atlantis was Plato, not Homer. Yeah, Homer's Odyssey. I've had Homer on the brain because of all this controversy lately about the actress playing Helen of Troy. Yeah, Plato's Atlanta.
At a military base in Long Island, New York. They were immediately caught by the military police and brought underground to meet an elderly civilian who claimed to be Dr. von Neumann. He told them that they were no longer in 1943, but in 1983, and welcomed them to Project Phoenix in Montauk. They were shown around the base and saw advanced technology that did not exist in 1943. Von Neumann explained to them that their ship was...
What kind of advanced technology? Big old CRT TVs? 80-pound computers? Talking about the 1980s. Commodores.
Still in hyperspace, and the bubble around it was growing. They were sent back to the ship to break the equipment because Montauk had complete control over space and time and could send them anywhere at any time. If they did not destroy the equipment, the bubble could encompass the entire planet. So something had to be done to stop it from growing. They were sent back to the ship to break the equipment. Bielek explains that they were skeptical at first, but they were sent back in time to the Eldridge. Their instructions were to destroy the equipment any way they could, so they began smashing the equipment until the generators stopped. However, before the ship reappeared in port, they saw that some of the sailors had been buried in the steel deck and bulkhead.
Y'all basically murdered these people by doing that. You're murderers.
Ship, including their younger brother, Jim. He explained
you killed Jim!
Because during the rematerialization process from hyperspace into our reality, the molecular structure of the sailors' bodies shifted, causing them to remain in a liquid state. If they found themselves near a wall during this process, they got stuck in. Bielek and Duncan did not completely avoid this tragedy. Jim died that way, stuck in the steel, and Duncan jumped again before the fields broke up and completely went to 1983 or somewhere around that time. Bielek stayed on board, and the fields again materialized. You lost your two brothers and traveled 40 years in time. Is it enough to drive the average person crazy? Yes, however, I remained normal, probably because of my training.
Al Bielek. Al.
Maybe I was chosen for this job by someone who knew more than myself. I've often asked myself, why me? When you travel in time, what is considered the present? Now is where you are. Your starting point is where you were born. There occurs a lock in time. Even as you move forward or backward in the flow of time.
Just traveling back and traveling forward in time and then back. One time makes you an expert on how time travel works. A lock in time and all that.
Starting point remains the same. Have you witnessed an alien intervention? In 1943, I did not see aliens. After that, we realized that they were there. I have a picture of Valiant Thor being coming from under the surface of Venus, made on Eldritch. The aliens were heavily
Under the
involved in the
surface of Venus.
So they were there, apparently mostly between 1973 and 1983, when they were helping with the time tunnels. When asked why the government
That's where I got the 70s time frame from. Okay.
lets him speak so openly, Bielek says he can't explain it, but he has said enough things that others have been crucified for, yet no one has said anything to him. He encourages people to do their own research and investigate, as there are enough documents available to support his claims. Bielek also gives information about the future. He says that doctors of the future use vibrating and light equipment for treatment, which is quite permissible and logical. He also says that the climate of the entire planet is going to be different, and the US and Europe are much changed from what we see today. The central government will be collapsing, and
that's War Games, right? Or are you talking about Saw? Do you want to play a game? I think Shall We Play a Game is War Games. It's Ferris Bueller, right?
world's population reaching
I think
300
Samantha
million.
mentioned that up there. War Games computer.
Million people. Bielek died at the age of 84 or 94 if we accept his version, and was buried in Mexico. Whether Al Bielek's account proves the existence of a real-time machine, space-time travel, and top-secret experiments that government doesn't want us to know about, we can't say for sure. But we think that this, unlike many other topics we have considered, is not a big mystery. For we ourselves know that if there is so much information circulating freely on the same topic, even if it seems false on the
Ooh, Deviant Outcast got a gift membership from Kristen. Thank you so much, Kristen. Love you, doll.
surface, there are common roots, and the truth is somewhere there. We bow before you and thank you for watching another
I know
episode
it's Matthew Broderick. I like calling him Ferris Bueller though, because it's funny.
of Secret Origins. Keep your minds open, and until we meet again.
I wonder. Yeah, keep your minds open. Let your brain fall right out. I wonder if this channel has Stargate videos. I bet it does. There's some Anunnaki. Ancient gods. But no Project Stargate. Too bad. But I'm sure they have more on talk. Yeah. No, just as it connects to this video that we just watched. They have Montauk. Well, all right. So the Secret Origins. They have a lot of woo videos, and we'll probably come back to this channel. I'll subscribe to it, but not on this account. I'll subscribe to it on my stock account that I use for woo videos. Ooh, the Green Children. We covered them a little while ago. Remember the Green Children? Just looking through here to see if there's anything I want to cover. Add to the polls. Book of Enoch, the movie. Is it all done with AI? I bet it is. It looks like it is. It's part 1, 2, and 3, yeah. Oh, giants. Look how big that giant is. You can fit inside his skull. Got some Doubting Thomas shit going on up there. Joe Rogan. More Joe Rogan. If Joe Rogan says it, it must be true. And if you don't believe Joe Rogan, who are you to doubt the mighty Graham Hancock? Or, you know, Tesla himself, Nikolai Tesla. You calling Tesla a liar? You calling Da Vinci a liar? The Hollow Earth. Oh, goodness. You're going to have Admiral Byrd. You're going to have Admiral Byrd up your bum. Alright, that's as far back as it goes. But there's some Noah's Bible stuff. And are they still making content? They were still making content as of 6 days ago. The Forbidden Kingdom hidden in the Himalayas. And we just covered that as well a couple weeks ago. With Shangri-La. All right, so when it comes to the Philadelphia experiment, do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel like you understand what what the whole thing was and what was going on, how this story got inflated, and if you do even the minimum amount of research, the claims made about it fall apart, like the involvement of an 80-something-year-old Nikola Tesla, for instance. I don't know. You tell me what you think. I got a comment section down below that you can go down to and you can say, no, this guy was full of it. Here's the real skinny on the Philadelphia experiment, and fill me in on what you know about it. And if it's different than what I just talked about, because I'll engage with you in the comments. If you comment down below, I almost always respond to you in some capacity, or at very least react to you. All right, so I'm going to call that this week in Weird, and let you all know to please be kind and take care, and we'll see you next time. All right, don't go anywhere. There's still another just a little over half an hour of show left. We got to do Bree's Bestiary, and we're going to talk about red wolves in just a minute. I'm going to take another intermission, though, because I got to go potty. Yay. All right. I'll be back in just a minute. Enjoy this intermission. And when we come back, we're going to talk about red wolves. And I think you'll enjoy the segment.
Rise up in the morning, grab a coffee, check your fit. Hit the ground running, but try not to forget. There's a place where you can go. Share some puppy hearts, slow it down, listen. Have some cat with your friends and just start your week to make that AM commute. Have that hot cup in your hand and wear something cute. And don't forget, girls, there's a place where you can go and bring your favorite mellow. Slow it down, listen in, have some caffeine with your friends with jam and juice. Rise up to the day ahead, find a place to sit. We say this especially for you, so try not to forget. There is a place where you can go with sugar, cream, and love. Slow it down and listen in. Have some caffeine with your friends with Java and jugs. Careful, it's hot. Spend a Monday with your friends with Java and jugs. We have mocha, vanilla, hazelnut with Java and jugs. Coming right up.
Hey. Thank you so much for sticking around, everybody. Give some Java and Jugs ads and stuff. Had some people dip, but that's all right. I'm glad that we have the people here who we have here. I'm seeing some familiar faces. And I want people to stick around because I send people from here directly over to Dr. Ben's channel for medical myths. And today he has Chad from Shiny Happy People, the documentary Shiny Happy People, about the Duggars and all that, the Quiverful people and the homeschooling and all that. He has him on. They're going to talk about homeschooling and sick kids, and there's obviously the vaccination stuff with homeschool kids and things like that, but they're going to talk about the trouble with homeschooling. So stick around here and we will direct you right over to here, and you can hang out with Chad Harris and Dr. Ben Hamilton. So just stick right around, and let's get into the topic for today. So if you all remember a couple it's been more than a couple months ago, so a little bit almost a year ago now, I guess. Has it been that long? The colossal wolves, the alleged dire wolves, right? So there were these alleged dire wolves that were made by Colossal, a genetics lab that is part of a de-extinction claim. They claimed that they were, they had brought dire wolves back from extinction, and I mean, obviously, that's not the case. What they've done is they've selected isolated genes that are similar and active, and in the dire wolf genome, and found those matching genes they're all caniforms, in the caniform lineage in the gray wolves, and expressed them. And they didn't just do that either. They used ones to make them giant, which is not something that dire wolves had. They used ones to make them white, which was not something dire wolves had. They used the technology they had to turn them into H.R.R. Martin's Song of Fire and Ice dire wolves, or Game of Thrones dire wolves, if you will. What they did was they made Ghost. They made Jon Snow's wolf. They spliced and genetically modified it, and created wolves that are big and white. They weren't actually dire wolves. Well, when Colossal came out with this information, people kind of like, oh shit, they did this, and so many science communication channels, including myself, came forward and said, no, this is not. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. And I did videos about it. I did a video about it. You can go watch it when it happened. I don't know how long ago it was. It's been a while. But one of the things I did say about Colossal is like, well, at least they're doing the work with the red wolves. Red wolves are ecologically important to North America, and like historically and ecologically. Now, ecologically, they've been sort of replaced with eastern coyotes, which are, ironically enough, part red wolf. But we'll get into that in just a second. But when I gave Colossal all those accolades, I guess I should have done some research on that as well, because I'll let this channel, it's called the Floridian Houndsman. It's like a very small channel, only 405 subscribers. I'm going to subscribe, though, because I like what they're doing here. 405 subscribers and 2 videos. I guess one of them's a short of this topic as well. But their video, Colossal Lies About Red Wolves. And we're going to watch it. It's from 8 months ago.
We can help recover the American red wolf population.
No. Hello, everyone. I'm back. I'm sure we're all aware of the Colossal debacle and their so-called dire wolves. And yes, it's all very convoluted.
I want a dire wolf, too. I want a real dire wolf, though. But can they make wargs? A warg would be even better. I could ride a warg.
And the scientific community is currently in an uproar, but that's not what I want to talk about today. I would like to discuss the other animals that Colossal has cloned, and that they claim will help.
They are beautiful. They are beautiful wolves. Giant white wolves. I think they both weigh like 125 pounds or something like that. They're big old canids.
This rare species in the wild and promote conservation. And it is not an extinct animal, it is a contemporary species, the critically endangered red wolf, Canis rufus. Red wolves are the only wolf endemic to North America, and they are very rare. They are the rarest canine in the world, with only 15, 16...
I better clarify. Endemic does not mean that they're the only ones found there. Endemic means that the only ones that are only found there, because the gray wolves, which live in the north and western part of the United States, or not United States, North America, from Mexico to Alaska to Greenland, are also found across Asia and Europe, and even into Africa. Gray wolves are a cosmopolitan species in the northern hemisphere, but red wolves are not. Red wolves are a very distinct North American species that are native to the southeastern United States.
Individuals living in the wilds of North Carolina. Colossal claims to have cloned 4 red wolves, and that these red wolves will aid in the genetics of the wild and captive population, prevent genetic bottleneck, and overall promote better conservation practices for this rare species. However, this is a bunch of phooey. The animals they've cloned will never be incorporated in the wild or captive populations, purely because the fact that the animals they have cloned are not even red wolves. So, if these animals are not red wolves...
Not red wolves. Rufus. Yeah. Rufus means red in taxonomy, but yeah. Don't forget to wind your watch. Bill and Ted callbacks.
What are they? Well, it's pretty simple. They're coyotes. Specifically, these animals are Gulf Coast canids. They are a population of coyotes found on the Gulf Coast of Texas. The reason they are referred to as Gulf Coast canids is because in their genetic admixture, there is varied percentages of red wolf made up in their DNA. A study...
And that's what makes up what we call an eastern wolf or timber wolf now, which is kind of funny because when we got here as Europeans, I know I have some natives in the audience. I know at least native atheists and Samantha are both indigenous, but the rest of us didn't arrive here until just a few hundred years ago. Our ancestors didn't. Anyhow, there was the Southwest. There was coyotes, little tiny coyotes too. I'm out here in the West now. The coyotes out here are so tiny. They're almost small, or they're just slightly bigger than our foxes that we have back home, and the foxes here are even tinier. Desert animals just tend to be smaller, but there were wolves out here too. There were gray wolves out west, from Mexico. There's the Mexican gray wolf, which is a subspecies that's also super freaking rare. But they have them at the zoo in El Paso too. So there's a breeding program they got going on there. They had, last time I was there, they had puppies too. So that's good that they're expanding. That's the sad thing too. The Mexican wolves are doing so much better than red wolves. And Mexican wolves, I believe, had like the lowest number of canids of any canid species alive, and they've managed to recover. But it's easy to keep gray wolf genetics with admixtures of other gray wolves and still be gray wolves. You can't do that with a red wolf, because red wolves are a genetically distinct species, or are they? Because some people argue that red wolves have always been a hybrid between gray wolves and coyotes. Some people argue that that's what the species has always been. But like an ancient, isolated population, and now that population is being supplanted by newer coyote genetics moving eastward after the extinction of the gray wolf across the Great Plains and the northeastern United States. Coyotes have just expanded and exploded. They were very much a southwestern species, like an armadillo. Armadillos are right behind them. They're a little slower traveling, but and they moved into the red wolves territory too, because the red wolves and the gray wolves were all kind of wiped out in the area. So now timber wolves are admixture. But they're going to get into some genetic stuff here.
Published in 2022 found that 38 to 62% of the resident coyotes in the Gulf Coast Canid Project had some red wolf admixture, likely acquired within the past 30 years. Two unique individuals having 50%.
And I'm going to speculate that all coyotes east of the Mississippi have some level of wolf DNA in them. Whether it's gray wolf, timber wolf, or red wolf, all of them do. But yeah, the ones across the south are going to have more red wolf in them, especially the Texas coast. I guess we need to go back to the maps. I love maps. Y'all know that. So let's go see. Okay, so red wolves are now found in North Carolina. But they used to be found from North Carolina all the way to the Houston area, all the way down to here, where they've always had some admixture with coyotes, as far as I can understand the way that population mechanics work. Florida had its own subspecies of red wolf called a black wolf, which is kind of ironic because it was, a red black wolf. We did a video about the black wolf not too long ago too. They're extinct now. They've been completely replaced. Not all of them. Not all of who, Maya? We have coyotes in Detroit City proper now. Much of the dilapidated areas are returning to the forest. Rabbits everywhere too, and probably squirrels, I bet too. Stuff for them coyotes to eat. My tattoo artist is Papago. I probably spelled it wrong. We have coyotes up here in New England, but so far I haven't seen an armadillo. No, armadillos have only reached the Midwest. I don't know if they may be across the Mississippi now, but I know that they're moving northward across the Midwest. They're up in Iowa now. They didn't have armadillos at all in Missouri when I was growing up, but there's just an indigenous population of armadillos around here too, in this area of Missouri. We have coyotes and roadrunners here in Las Cruces. It's hilarious to see that. I've seen roadrunners and coyotes here in Las Cruces, both in the same block too. I hadn't seen them together, but they were. But roadrunners are bigger than people think. Roadrunners are about the size of a house cat. They're lighter than a house cat, significantly lighter. Because we talked about that last week when we talked about kiwis and how, or no, it wasn't kiwis. What were we talking about? Anyway, I was talking about how theropods can be the same size as a Like how a golden eagle is the same size as a. It was when we were talking about the big cats. How a golden eagle is the same size as like a coyote, but a golden eagle weighs significantly less than a coyote, like a fifth of what a coyote weighs. But golden eagles also punch upward because golden eagle can tackle a wolf, can like go toe to toe with a wolf. 0 hearts near Detroit. Do I need more Detroit cryptids? I do have 0 hearts in Detroit. My girl Kelly is in Detroit too. Send me some cryptids from Detroit, guys. Send me some. I know I got Michigan Dogman right here, and these are all Black Panther sightings, Ontario Black Panther sightings down here. But as far as Detroit goes, are there any haunted locations? Any UFOs or demonic buildings or anything? Let me know so that we can make it an episode and you can get it on the list. All right, let's get back to this because we're barely into it.
Red wolf admixture or more. Now, that is quite impressive, but to understand why Colossal's clones are not red wolves, we must first understand where red wolves came from, as well what makes them unique from other animals, and what makes them unique from these clones.
Hell
Red
yeah.
wolf ancestry dates back to the mid to late Pleistocene, with their primary range being found within the southeastern United States.
Your mom dates back to the mid-Pleistocene. Okay, I'm done.
With the oldest known modern red wolf fossils being around 10,000 years old. This means that red wolves would have coexisted with iconic megafauna, such as mammoths, ground sloths, mylodons, and direwolves. Alongside that, they would have coexisted with various members of the Canis genus, gray wolves, eastern wolves, and coyotes, which goes into a point that Colossal tries to make in defense of their clones, is that they would share genetic admixture with all of these species. Which is true. Now, don't get it twisted. Red wolves are still a unique species that does differ from gray wolves and from coyotes, but at the same time they do share genetic admixture with gray wolves and coyotes, with gray wolves sharing about 40% of their DNA and coyotes sharing about 60%. And this is something that we can totally expect from members of the Canis genus, as historically there are many hybridization events amongst the Canis genus during the end of the Pleistocene.
Yeah, Canis is literally a spectrum across all their ranges, right? Between different classes of wolves. Some have been isolated, but at some point they were connected to the group, like the Ethiopian wolf, for instance. It's been isolated and pulled, like extracted from the population, but they've always kind of swirled together. And not dire wolves, of course. Dire wolves were their own genus, own species. They would not have been able to interbreed with wolves. It's kind of in the same way that like African wild dogs or jackals can't interbreed with wolves. Coyotes, on the other hand, are very much in the family. And the Ethiopian wolf used to be considered a jackal, and it's a wolf. But anyway, back to the.
You had eastern wolves, Great Lakes wolves, gray wolves, coyotes, and red wolves all hybridizing at various different points during the end of the Pleistocene, and this eventually produced our modern established populations of these members of the genus. Now, to understand where red wolves and subsequently eastern wolves fall into this, we must first understand the divergent point between wolf ancestry and coyote ancestry. The best candidate used to describe the early origins of wolf ancestry and coyote ancestry would be a canine known as Canis lopophagus, which ranged from the Pliocene to the early Pleistocene.
I'm going to change my name to Lopophagus. Lopophagus McKeown.
From there, the divergent ancestry between wolf ancestry and coyote ancestry begins to take shape, with coyote ancestry descending into North America sooner than that of gray wolves, allowing them to coexist with the iconic megafauna like smilodons, mammoths, and mastodons mentioned earlier. Over a few thousand years of isolation, and eventually gray wolves would migrate.
If you hear that beeping, that's the alarm that goes. I got the mail room like right on the other side of this wall. And there's a walkway between us and stuff, but they have the Amazon lockers, and if they don't get closed right, that alarm thing goes off.
to North America. And not just one gray wolf, likely several different waves of gray wolf have descended into North America since the end of the Pleistocene and hybridized.
See how I forgot my train of thought when I was talking about roadrunners earlier? I started talking about golden eagles punching upward. Roadrunners too. Not so much as eagles, but like there's not like a house cat wouldn't want to mess with a roadrunner, right? Actually, I have a video of a house cat chasing a little roadrunner, but roadrunners can hold their own. I've seen roadrunners walk up to like little birds and just munch them, but they're big. They're like that big.
Established coyote ancestry, eventually producing modern coyotes, eastern wolves, red wolves, and all of the modern gray wolf subspecies we have in North America. So the point Colossal tries to use as a defense for their clones in that red wolves share genetic ancestry with gray wolves, coyotes, and eastern wolves isn't necessarily wrong. However, we must ask ourselves, based on the close genetic ancestry of eastern wolves, red wolves, and coyotes, at what point admixture events produce it either being a red wolf or produce it being a coyote? And to come to a better understanding of that, we must look at the animal's phenotypic traits and their ecological divergences. The phenotypic traits of an animal are primarily describing their morphology, the physical form and the structure of the animal, and this will have a very...
They do fly. They're not... roadrunners fly, but they're not super graceful, but they're pretty big. I think the thing that stands out to me most about roadrunners was the size. They're... I keep comparing them to a cat, but that's more the length. The size of them, they're more like a crow sized, but they're like predators. A chicken is another good comparison, like a bantam chicken.
Big effect on its ecological niche and how it competes amongst other species in the environment. With red wolves,
Kristen, are you okay? Do you need to hydrate? What's going on, honey? Are you okay? Let me know.
See that their phenotypic traits differ from, say, coyotes for a couple different reasons. One is their general size. Red wolves, true red wolves, will exceed averagely larger size ranges than that of coyotes, with large individuals, such as males, reaching 70 to potentially 80 pounds, whereas large male coyotes typically only tip the scales at around
Which
30
is a very small they're a very small species of wolf. Yes, species. I think they're a species. I don't think they're a subspecies. I think they have a subspecies or had a subspecies. They probably still do have subspecies. If we did deeper research into them, we're going to find out that they're probably geographically were distinct species. I don't know about now, with there only being a handful of them left. We can't really say subspecies exist, but
40 pounds. That difference in size might sound arbitrary, but understand that the difference in their size will influence their prey preference as well as their mating habits. Red wolves are what we refer to as a macropredator. Macropredators influence most things in their ecosystems, from animals the size of white-tailed deer and feral pigs to animals the size of cottontail rabbits, gray squirrels, and rodents. They will also influence mesopredators, with animals like raccoons, opossums, foxes, and coyotes being mesopredators that are normally influenced and suppressed by macropredators like red wolves. Whilst often confused for each other, red wolves are far more dominant on the landscape than coyotes, with this footage from Alligator National Wildlife Refuge showing an adult female red wolf displacing and chasing an adult male coyote.
Yeah, she's like, get the out of here.
Because of these differences in their ecology and morphology, we see different behavioral outputs, with red wolves forming multi-generational family units not too dissimilar from gray wolves, whereas coyotes...
So, Nyla's about the size of a coyote, and Henry's about the size of a red wolf. So if you follow the doggies that I sweet on and I take care of, you'll know the size. And then we got Hank, who's the size of a South American bush dog.
To be a lot more fluid in their social dynamics. So from this very brief discussion on phenotypic traits and ecological divergences between red wolves...
Kristen, you need to respond again in the side chat, please, because if someone needs to come check on you, we do know people in Detroit. Message me on Discord, please, if you can't respond in the side chat.
Coyotes, we now must look at the cloned animal that Colossal referenced, which the individual animal that Colossal cloned from the Gulf Coast Canid Project is known as LA-52F. Despite her red wolf-like appearance, we will reference Dr. Joseph Hinton, who was the former field supervisor of the Gulf Coast Canid Project, who caught this animal in 2022.
This is a female. She's got big ears. She kind of looks wolfish. Again, she's like 32, 34 pounds, very long-legged, very tall, very thin, and I guess lanky. They can look a lot like wolves, which is why people confuse them and think they're wolves at times. But once you have them in hand, clearly not.
Colossal contends on their website that LA-52F has very high red wolf ancestry, 70.8%.
She can have good... How much?
that's true, that is very impressive, but we must also remember that red wolves, eastern wolves, and coyotes, because of their common ancestry, are very closely related. Because of this close genetic relation, we must look at LA52F's phenotypic trait.
That does look like a wolf, a red wolf to me, or a maybe a Mexican wolf more than a coyote. That one specifically does.
It's to see if she matches that of a red wolf. Using morphological measurements of LA52F collected by Dr. Joseph Hinton and morphological measurement standards of red wolves collected by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, we can compare and contrast her phenotype to that of a red wolf, which we can put on screen here.
Okay.
As we can see, LA52F morphologically would not fall in line with even the minimal morphological standards of a red wolf.
Yeah,
because of this, phenotypically, LA52F would not be considered a red wolf by...
Hold on, let's go back and look. So her skull length is too short by 3 centimeters. Her skull width is too short by 1 centimeter. Her overall weight is short by 1.5. This is minimum morphological standards for a female red wolf. The weight is 17.5 kilograms. Is 1.5 kilograms lighter. Total length, actually, she exceeds those 138 centimeters compared to the 129.5 minimum. Hind foot length is just 0.2 centimeters less. Ear length is almost half a centimeter less than the minimum. And shoulder length is it's like almost 3 centimeters short of meeting the minimum requirement. So LA52F is a coyote.
Even the minimal morphological standards of a red wolf. Because of this, phenotypically, LA52F would not be considered a red wolf by any means. She would simply be considered a coyote by any legitimate science. Despite this glaring problem in their claims, Colossal and various content creators they fund to promote their work refer to her...
Hey, baby. Hey, Kelly.
And the clones made in her image as ghost wolves.
Ghost wolf.
Ghost wolf. Ghost wolf. However, the term ghost wolf is not supported by any legitimate research, as Dr. Joseph Hinton can elaborate.
Now, geneticists, when they're publishing papers and stuff like that, they come up with like, cute terminology to sort of help promote and sell their papers to get people to cite it.
Yeah, if you see Maya pop in, either she's got something really important to say or somebody's misbehaving in the chat and she has to moderate.
And so they refer to this as like ghost alleles or ghost genetics or something like that. But what you're talking about is just lost genetic variation due to the bottleneck. And so when you hear terms like ghost wolves, that's what they're getting at. I don't support that terminology. I know the Fish and Wildlife Service and the state agencies that are like TPWD and Louisiana Division of Fish and Wildlife don't support that. They prefer you to refer to the animals as Gulf Coast canids or coyotes.
Colossal's rampant use of the ghost wolf term is not...
These are Gulf Coast coyotes, Kelly. They're a subspecies of coyote, or I guess a population of coyotes that have a lot of red wolf admixture, so they look very wolfy.
Aids the conservation practices for true red wolves, as many people in the red wolf recovery zone in North Carolina believe that red wolves are all coyote hybrids anyway. So for a multi-million-dollar company to be pushing the narrative that these coyotes that have red wolf ancestry are red wolves pushes that myth and stereotype further. Their entire website promotes this terminology with very little regard.
Oh my goodness!
Truly,
Forrest Galante.
Than Colossal, as they utilize the popularity of an actual parachute scientist to promote their claims.
But this is a proof of concept to show what this technology is capable of, and the real game changer is that this same technology has been used to clone critically endangered red wolves.
I don't got nearly as much hate for Forrest Galante as this person does, but he's causes some problems for me, but I usually follow
which is an animal.
What he says to lead me to some truths. The stuffed tiger thing, Tasmanian tiger thing, was kind of the tipping point for me and Forrest Galante, though.
Talked about before, it's the most critically endangered wolf species in the world, and
funny enough, Galante doesn't even know what a red wolf is. In his Ozark Howler special, which is meant to focus on red wolves, he takes a man who supposedly had an encounter with a wild red wolf to a wolf conservation center.
That's it. That's that sound. Yeah, it is. This is it. Right here. This is it.
However, what they fail to understand is that Galante isn't actually showing them red wolves.
Oh,
He's
they're
showing
so
them
beautiful.
Mexican
Those
gray
are
wolves. Speaking of Mexican gray wolves,
Mexican gray wolves are so pretty.
Themselves don't know what actual red wolves are, as there are no...
Did I tell you guys I got to see Mexican gray wolves at the El Paso Zoo. Equus doesn't come here anymore after the whole thing with the community drama stuff. Yeah, she hasn't come back. I don't know. People believe all kinds of nonsense about me. and kind of bailed. But that's okay, because if you're willing to believe that kind of crazy stuff about me, then I don't want you here anyway.
True red wolf images on their website. Thankfully, they removed most of their AI imagery depicting red wolves and the image of a Mexican wolf as they're trying to pass off as a red wolf. But in the one instance of a true red wolf on their website, they claim it's a Mexican gray wolf. This is a prime example of Colossal not understanding anything about red wolves or their conservation as a species. Their CEO, Ben Lamb, has been one of the most infamous offenders in this regard, appearing on the Joe Rogan podcast making unsubstantiated claims without any credibility to those claims.
They look like coyotes. Well, because the ones in North Carolina even look more like coyotes.
Really?
And yeah,
People confuse them and think they're wolves at times, but once you have them in hand, clearly not. I mean, this is a 38-pound male. This is a 78-pound male from North Carolina.
Making these wild claims that directly threaten...
There are no red wolves left in Texas, just to make that clear. There are coyotes with red wolf ancestry from admixture before their extinction in the region. The only extant red wolves are in North Carolina.
Ability of red wolf conservation is baffling. What's even more baffling is the researchers who initially collected this data, like Bridget von Hollet, that are aware of how dangerous these claims are, has made no attempt to save face, especially as Ben Lamb causes a riot.
You're so
cute. You know, top of her field, she's one of the top wolf geneticists in the world. Bridget von Holt identified a population of wolves, and what she found is they actually have more quote-unquote red wolf in them than the red wolves that are being identified in North Carolina.
You lied? Who told you to lie? You did! You're not a liar! That's my area!
Overall, this entire
That's some straight up bullshit.
Situation with the red wolves is extremely tiring, and it is very dangerous for red wolf conservation. Thankfully, I've not seen many content creators speak about the red wolf situation, and that's because I do not have faith that majority of people that make content around Colossal will understand the nuance of red wolf conservation and taxonomy. I have seen a few videos, most of which are extremely disappointing, including, unfortunately, Hank Green's video. Whilst I love Hank Green doesn't seem to understand the nuances
I
of
saw
red...
Coyote Peterson too, and a lot of my community like really loves Coyote Peterson, and I was a Coyote Peterson fan early on too, but I've lost the enchantment. I'm actually
wolf conservation, taxonomy, or evolutionary history. As well, he says some things that are just blatantly wrong, as we do have fossilized evidence of red wolves, which he
That's the thing, Bryce. It didn't involve me at all at any real capacity. It did involve a lot of people who got their names dragged through the mud about it, but I'm not going to get into it today. I was not involved in any drama. I was brought up in some drama. It's unfortunate.
We don't, in his video. Do I, however, believe that there might be some potential use for the Galveston population to aid red wolves? I do, in fact. I do believe with proper education and proper research into the Galveston population, we can learn a lot more about how red wolf genetics persist, we can learn a lot more about hybridization, and there could even be a timeline in which we do selectively breed Galveston canids for red wolf-like traits. That is entirely dependent on certain things. We don't exactly know how that would go, but it is something that I do believe could happen. However, what this company has done in their attempt to gain investors is appalling, as they have actively threatened the program to preserve the most endangered canine on the planet by spreading rampant misinformation on their clones, conservation, species classification, and even perpetual myths about red wolves that plague the species to this day. Colossal has not cloned red wolves or ghost wolves, they have cloned a coyote, and their attempt at claiming anything otherwise is clear disregard for the well-being of red wolves as a species.
Can we not talk about this in this chat right now? I suppose I need to address it at some point, but I only have 5 minutes left before I send you guys over to Ben's. I'd rather spend it talking about red wolves than talking about that. Yeah, I had nothing to do with that incident at all. Just the people making a conspiracy theory that involves me that's not true. If you believe that, then yeah, get the hell out. I don't have time for your nonsense. If you believe I'm involved in some kind of conspiracy to cover up assault allegations, then bounce, because I think that's ridiculous. Or if you think that any of my friends are, if you think that Ember is, or if you think Maya is involved in some kind of kooky cover up, just hit the road. We don't need you here. We're not in a conspiracy.
Additionally, red wolves don't really get any benefits by cloning. The issue with red wolves is not a lack of genetic diversity, at least not as a rampant of an issue that Colossal claims it is. Contrary to Colossal's constant insistence, the red wolf population, aided by the captive breeding programs like the SSP and SAFE, have produced a healthy breeding population of at least 120 individual animals. That's more wolves than in Yellowstone National Park. Increasing anti-wolf sentiments caused a significant decline after 2012, with illegal gunshot mortality and vehicle strikes taking heavy casualties. Additionally, red wolves are very territorial, unlike coyotes, and just like gray wolves, will kill other red wolves trespassing. That and their other normalized causes of mortality amplify.
I mean, that's the coyotes across the board. That's why when wolves were brought back to Yellowstone, like it reshaped the world. Because it's like daddy's home sort of thing.
Humans, the population in 2020 reached a mere 7 individuals. Steadily, the population has increased since then. But this timeline shows that lack of genetic diversity is not the reason why red wolves declined. It is human-caused interference. Something that no one wants to acknowledge with Colossal is that Mexican wolves were lower in their founding population, a mere 7 to red wolves 14. And yet the Mexican wolf population is doing far better than red wolves, and in the next few years will likely expand into new recovery
they're beautiful.
Why is
Mexican
this?
wolves
It's not
are
because Mexican wolves have better gene diversity.
Mexican wolves are so beautiful.
It's because they have less pressure from people. Colossal is banking on the general public's lack of understanding on both red wolves and their dire wolves to promote themselves. All this is a glorified advertisement to investors, whilst simultaneously making a mockery of endangered species conservation. It is up to us to educate ourselves and the general public on issues like this. Within our current day and age, endangered species conservation is more threatened than ever. So to have a multi-million-dollar company perpetuating misinformation in the name of money is truly appalling. It is baffling to all those who are willing to let this slide, who are potentially going to let the rarest canine on Earth fade back into extinction.
Listen. Oh, children of the night. What music they make. I love wolves. All right. Well, we've been from giant ice spiders to disappearing battleships to fake conservation efforts today for wolves. So it's been a show. Been quite the show. What do you all think? What have you to say? Let me know in the comments down below. And please remember to be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time. All right. Live from the Hive audience. Yeah. Sorry about that derailment of the show there for a minute. That topic gets me a little upset. People making ridiculous claims about me. I don't want to get into it and get into a whole bunch of community drama stuff. But I got to send you all over to Ben's anyway. So please remember to be kind, take care, and I'll see you next time.
Big